Goeienaand, goeiemiddag. Ek hoop julle doen almal goed. What the hell is going on? Why is it not showing me? It's showing some other weird stuff. Anyway, let's go there. How's it going, PJ? It's good to see you.
Yeah, man, I'm doing all right. Doing all right. Looking forward to see what's happening in this moon debate because really, I don't think it's going to be too hard to show him that it's all nonsense. It's fake. It can't be too hard. I mean, the moon one is the easiest one to debunk. You know.
And they he went and challenged me on it. I was like, okay, why not? And I see Hammer's also in. How you doing, Hammer?
What's up, my brother?
Good and just
Yo, Hammer. Yeah, he looks like he looks like my best mate. Brilliant, man. Brilliant.
Yeah, we found out I got a doppelganger over there.
Yeah, Harry's your doppelganger, man.
Harry Hammer.
Yeah, that's the one, Harry Hammer. He's smiling. He's smiling.
So, if you guys haven't noticed, tonight is a debate. Is the moon landings real? By what's his name? Craven Moordik, or whatever his name is. He challenged me. It's going to be on FTFE's channel. FTFE is going to be the moderator. Let's just hope he's going to do a good job moderating, because I do know he likes to jump in and help White Knight. So we'll see if he's going to actually be a good moderator tonight. But yeah, the poll so far, 27 votes. Narnia debunks the moon landing. 67% say yes and 33% say no. So, hey, Moxie, good to see you. Christopher Fitz, good to see you. Peter Cruikshank, obviously. Oh, where did I go? Alan Norstrand, hello. Jeff Gessed, Jamacho Wombat, Dylan, Larry Niven, the Keyring of Reslan, good to see you. Nick Volt, it's always good to see you, mate. Zed, hello. YouTube, good to see you. Michael Khan, thank you for coming, mate. Good to see you. Peanut, hello. And then we got Julie Mation, thank you for coming. Mation.
That's my friend. Can I just shout her out? Are you all right, Julie? How you doing? Hope you enjoy the show. It's a good one.
Well, it's good to see the new faces. Thank you, Julie, for coming. Really appreciate your support being here. And then Zane Solo, hello, good to see you. Okay. I wanted to say something, but I can't remember what. Oh, yeah. I actually went and I banned quite a few trolls today, guys.
Fair play.
Because if they are going to be supporting, it's okay to dox people and to support that very hideous, really rubbish page that someone set up. Then they are disgusting in my book, so they're not welcome here.
It's terrible, man. Yeah. It's terrible. I mean, all drinking urine and I mean, apart from you, it hasn't been confirmed that you drink urine yet.
No. Apparently, me and my wife drink urine because our Facebook page has a yellow border, and we had a photo shoot with yellow shirts. So that means.
Oh, I see.
So that means somehow we're crazy about yellow and we drink urine.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. Well, at least it's not calling me a shill for wearing always hustling shirt, eh?
That's it.
Yesterday was a weird day, let's put it that way.
Oh, I'm telling you, man, I mean, it's crazy. I've been, I mean, since the whole thing started, it's just been a mad. I mean, a lot of banning, then, you know, I mean, blocking, then unblocking, then I block, then you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's been crazy with what's going on, man. I don't understand it. I don't understand why.
Yeah. Hey, Television, good to see you. And Arwen, also good to see you. And 21 Truth is now good to see you. Yeah, if you guys haven't seen that already, there is a page set up on Fandom, a domain for they call Wikiflurf. And, well, it's a site literally just there to defame people's characters and to dox them.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, McToon, if you listen to this, you do know you're on that log. So you better hope you're not the one that set it up, because the lawyers are going to be contacted from Fandom, and they've already contacted us back. We will know what's happening in about 24 to 72 working hours. So whoever ever set up that domain is going to probably have some legal issues coming their way.
Well, it's deserved. It's deserved, to be honest.
Because it goes against their terms and conditions.
Yeah.
Hey
Yeah.
Max65, thank you for coming. Good to see you. Glad you could make it. So yeah, I can't believe is that the level of lowness that people are stooping to today.
Yeah. It's just crazy. I mean, it's horrible. It's a horrible website. It's disgusting.
Yeah. Hey,
I never knew. I didn't know it existed at all. Never
me
knew at
neither.
all.
Me neither. Charlie Welsh,
Crazy.
good to see you. I saw my profile was created in February. And the
Mm.
thing is, I went and I signed up on there and I removed it. And then Dora Nku, the one that created my profile, went and created it again. And I took it off and did it again. And I took it off and did it again. So I took it off the last time again. So I don't know if it's probably back again. But Dora Nku, you are going to be in big shit if you carry on with this. Because it's been warned.
Mm.
I don't know what it is with these people. Hey, Audio Oracle, good to see you, mate. Thank you for coming. You can slander someone's name without being on camera, Owen. It's called defamation of character. Like they're calling me, like, let's put it this way, like Sergio was saying, I am a Mason and a Satanist. And like they were saying on typing, I drink urine and shit like that, idiotic stuff like that. And saying me and my wife, because we have a joint Facebook account, that's got nothing to do with him in the first place, saying we have trust issues, which is total bullshit. We have one account because I hardly use it.
It's just ridiculous. What urine do you prefer? Do you prefer like the dark yellow or like the lighter coloured yellow?
I'm not a yellow guy at all.
All right,
I'm a
so yeah,
lime
it's just
green. I love lime green. That's my color. Lime green or blue?
yeah, it's just idiotic, isn't it, man?
Stupid.
It's disgusting. It's less than childish because it's a child wouldn't do that,
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. The mentality of them to do that. I don't know. I don't know what to call them. To be honest, I
And the
don't
thing
think
is,
there's a word.
they're proud of it. That's the sad thing.
That's it. That's it. I bet they're sitting there when they read it and when they've done it and having a good. Oh, look at this. You know what I mean? It's terrible.
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
exactly.
Well, we've known it for a long time, haven't we, gentlemen? Is that they don't have anything significant to back their arguments, so the thing that they fall back on is attacking people's character because they have no facts to support their beliefs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
Hey,
Exactly.
hey, Jonah Edwards and Jeff Gass. It was good to see. Yeah, that's the thing. They don't have anything, so that's all they have.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing is, the legal department has been notified of that from fandom, and we'll see what's going to happen from that. I'll just be happy if they just take that domain off and then just actually bring to light who started the domain, because it's sick.
Yep.
What can we say? It's teenage brain
That's
stuff.
that's what I'm saying. There's no word for it. For somebody who does something like that, there is no word for it because it's deplorable. That's not even harsh enough to say
Yeah.
deplorable. You know.
Yeah. But anyway,
And, and coupled with that stupid porn thing, do you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about. I don't want
yeah,
to say the words. Um, it's just ridiculous because I guarantee it's pretty much the same kind of people that's doing it.
yeah. You have to wonder what kind of mental disorders these people have.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you think that's
It's it.
okay?
Mm.
But yeah. So anyway, tonight's going to be a debate on moon landings.
Cool.
I can tell with all the excitement, PJ is definitely a moonlander believer.
Yeah, absolutely. Love it. I just love how that tinfoil lunar lander got all the way through the vacuum of space, the Van Allen belt, all these micro asteroids that go through you and stuff, and it made it to the moon, and it got away from the moon as well. It come back when it looked like it was tinfoil and paper, and they did that just to keep it light. So you know what I mean? It's the kind of thing we do. I mean, it's 100% true. You can't deny the moon landing flats. Come on.
Well, for once, I actually made a pretty presentation for the debate. Yes,
Mm.
I'm debating, Taylor. Spuddy in about 15 minutes. About are the moon landings real? So I just actually did a quick little Because there's so many arguments you can bring up why the moon landings are fake. But as you know, if I bring up too much, they don't know what to do. So I try and keep it to maybe 4 or 5 arguments max. So we'll see what is going to be. But you can guess what one of my arguments are. Come on, it's always building up.
Exactly.
They landed on the moon in a tent. It sounds like it. It does look
I'm just
like
curious.
it. Yeah.
Do you guys remember the movie Interstellar?
Yes.
Oh yeah, it was brilliant.
I loved it.
They made a comment about the moon landings being fake in like the beginning or so of that movie, but I don't remember why they said exactly they had to fake it. Do you remember why?
No, can't remember.
No.
I'll have to look it up. I'll try to find it.
OBS virtual camera. Oh no, I don't want the 666. Okay, so I'm not gonna have a camera on FTFE tonight, guys. But he's already sent the link. So let's see. Try and go in. Dun. Host has joined. We'll let you know you are here. Hey, Two Wolves, good to see you. And in Rem, always good to see you, mate. Because I was actually very tempted to take that. Oh wait, let's see what it says. To take that domain and change it around to make fun of Globers. Yes. Okay, testing one. Okay, microphone, real tech, 10 test. Let me see, test speaker, and I don't want to see. Testing 1 2.
It's also really weird seeing you on a computer screen because I usually only watch you on my phone, so you're like really big in my face.
Sorry.
USB. Okay.
Hey, Flatzoid, how you doing?
That should be fine. Okay. Let's see. Hello. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I just set the right mic on. How's it going?
That's all right. Oh, you are sounding much better than normal. You sorted your mic out.
Yeah, got a new mic.
Sounded like you were talking through a shoe last time.
Yeah. What did you get out of interest? What mic did you get?
I got, because I'm going to do some music stuff, I got a Shure M58, SMF58.
Ooh, good choice. Shure or Rode is the ones that I would normally go for. Shure, really, really good. Yeah. Nice. I like that.
And then I got an audio processor, M Audio M Track Solar.
Oh, yeah. M boxes are great.
Yeah.
Like a switchboard.
It's definitely a lot better considering.
They're pretty good
that
for
whole week.
Sort of
it was
stuff.
terrible.
They have a couple channels, which is perfect for
it was terrible.
Putting stuff on a computer real quick.
Okay, right. Everyone's here, all good. I'm gonna go and make myself a coffee, and I'll be back in like 5-6 minutes.
Okay, shot. See you soon. Okay, let us get back to where we
were.
Well,
nice to meet you. I know I was kind of I get kind of, I guess, aggressive in chat and text. So I mean,
you've actually been very how can I put it? Very mild. As I can put it.
I'm good. I try to be respectful, but I'm also very disrespectful just in general. So I mean, I always come off that way.
How dare you?
I know, right? Well, thanks for agreeing to do this. This is actually my first debate ever. So
wow. Okay.
We'll see how I do.
Well, you can feel honored. It's the first time I've actually made a pretty presentation for a debate.
Well, I would say mine's not really pretty. It's some clunky PowerPoint, but I did at least put some effort into it. So
yeah, because usually I just type it out on Notepad. I actually put some pictures and everything now.
Nice. Yeah, I did that too. And I've got notes, so this should be fun. So virtual handshake, and we'll.
Awesome. Yeah.
So you're in South Africa, is that right?
Yes, I am.
Cool. I'm in San Diego, California, so I'm pretty far away. But yeah, I don't know a whole lot about you. I've only seen you every now and then. So.
Okay.
But this should be fun.
Yeah, we should have fun. I always enjoy the debates. So.
Yeah. I thought it'd be something fun to try. I've never done it before. I've watched enough, but it's not the same watching and actually participating. So
that's the truth. Definitely.
Yeah.
Big difference. Hey, Pat in the chat. Good to see you. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, sorry, PJ. He's busy talking. But it's going to be great. I'll definitely have after show.
I didn't say anything.
No, I'm saying last time you was talking, and then he was talking over you. So
Oh, sorry. I didn't realise. Yeah, when you're ready to go, just tell me you went to go on mute, man.
Okay, that one.
yeah, guys, we are gonna have
There we go. Now I'm
are
pushing
gonna
the
have
right
an
buttons
after
here.
show for you guys. So because I think the debate's only gonna be like an hour long. So there will definitely be an after show, and I know at 9, just after 9, I'm gonna have to quickly go dead for like 2 minutes so I can put the generator off, so I can carry on with the debate. So
Spud said, PJ, you more than the debate. One day, maybe. When I'm good enough.
yeah. Hey, Lumpy, good to see you, mate. Thank you for coming. It's good to see everybody here, guys. Really, really appreciate all the support. Please hit that like button and share the button so we can get it to a wider audience.
You just said share the button.
Yeah, you know, today I lost like 30 subs just because I banned like 20
Wow.
20 people.
Wow. I lost one sub. You know who it was.
Yeah. No doubt about
and
that.
now, and now I'm at that lucky number.
Yeah.
I
No,
dare say it'll be used
getting,
against me.
I'm really getting tired of the outright trolls that are just disgusting. I can still handle trolls that have some decency, but the trolls that are outright okay with thinking, oh, just because you're flat earther, we can do what we want with you. And bringing my children and my wife into it. Sorry, you got no respect to come into my chats.
No.
So if they got no respect, then they're not welcome here. Yeah. So what was the poll say? 45 votes. Narnia debunks the moon landing. 60% yes and 40% no.
Liking it.
Yeah, Craven Moordik. It's quite a weird name. You can really read it wrong if you wanted to.
You could, yeah, you could. Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
I just realized what. Yeah, no way.
I don't know if I should ask him why the name.
Yeah, I think it's got to mean that, hasn't it? I don't know, dude. I don't know. I wouldn't like to ask. Wow, I just realized.
And I built my green screen today. Built it up and
Oh,
stuff.
cool.
So it's
Cool,
nice
cool.
and mobile as well. So it's awesome.
That's nice.
Maybe I'll use it tomorrow night a bit.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Oh. So what is the time? Okay, 9 minutes, then we should start the debate.
Yes, in Rem. That's kind of what I was thinking.
Well, it's a conceptual medium that bends with mass and creates wells in time. So let's see what's that. A conceptual medium, so I mean, aka it's not an actual medium, that bends with mass that they can't even give it actual definition for because it's got the same as inertia, and it creates wells which requires physicality in another concept. Wow. Zane, that name seems racist. Lumpy, Craven's a girl. I would hope so.
Man.
Lumpy, I would hope so. I would hope it's rather
Definitely.
a girl.
Absolutely.
Hey Gary, good to see you, mate. Thank you for coming. But that's his name on Discord and stuff as well. I guess, but you saw his avatar, because he doesn't really want to give us his real picture. I would also be kind of embarrassed to try and show my real face with a name like that, though, to be honest.
Yeah.
What am I going to use the green screen for? A lot of things. Like I said, I'm also going to be doing some music production stuff, so it's going to be quite cool. And I want to do some video VFX, touch on things like what they did with Space Odyssey 2001. Just do ordinary little VFX.
That'd be cool. We've got to fake the Mars landing.
Yeah, I mean, show some floating around in the ISS and all that stuff, doing some augmented reality kind of stuff.
That'd be brilliant, man.
because it seems the globe believers are very ignorant to this stuff. They think if you say it's augmented reality, it's just magic. No, it's simple VFX tricks that's been going on for many, many decades. Even before CGI, there's things called video VFX. They do video effects, as I can put it. Derek Nelson, I must still have something of innocent mind. I didn't even notice
5
that.
minutes to go.
5 minutes, cool.
I am ready. Of course, I did just drink a whole thing of coffee, and I got a water bottle here, so I may end up having to run away and go pee all of a sudden.
I just have to say, I'm running on the generator at the moment, so the power's coming on about 9 o'clock. So probably about 9:05, I'm just gonna quickly be dark for like 2 minutes to get the generator off and the power back on. Okay.
No worries.
Okay.
Sure.
Yep.
Oh, Sean,
I'm good
stop
here
it,
for the
mate.
next couple of hours. Then I got stuff to do, get my kids and stuff. But I mean, I got nowhere to be other than that.
Cool.
Yeah. Nice one, Richie. You deserved that.
Hey, Rachie. Is Rachie here? I don't even see Rachie's.
Yeah, she's definitely there because she timed out, Sean.
Okay, well, hi, Rachie. Good to see you. Oh, there we go. Hi, all. And Jolly Man. Good to see you, too. Alan, hello. And Sasquatch Rosefart. Always good to see you, too. Martin, too, as well. Hello. Or is it Martian? No. Oh, the Martian. Okay.
So,
Putting his background on. Greetings and salutations. I'm sorry, I'm struggling these last few days with my throat. Crazy. Okay, let's see.
like normal, when I go live, I do my intro, say hello, and then we get started.
Is that Pat the cat?
It is.
That's Dave the cat.
Oh.
Right, Flats.
That's my
I'll
little
go in.
kid,
I'll go in there and
It's
mute now.
Dave's.
Yeah.
Okay, shot PJ. We'll talk in the after show.
All right, in a bit, bless.
Shot.
I forgot what I was doing. Never mind.
Martin, I think we all want to know what.
Yeah, whatever I do. You're the boss here. I'm just along for the ride.
First of all, Martin, the equator is based on the globe. So that's begging the question. Second of all, I don't think you're really going to know the full. Not even on your globe, it keeps changing. You know what I mean? Thanks, Black Swan. My chat screen is about 10 seconds behind theirs. Okay. Moxie, hello. Yeah, so I hope you guys all stick around for the debate. I even made a pretty presentation. Can you believe it? Usually I don't make any presentations for an opening. I just slap together some writing on a notepad and that's about it. But I actually put some pretty pictures on this time and, you know, made it look all pretty with space behind it and all that, you know?
God, that app gaming in the chat is stupid.
Yeah, I've been screwing with him for the last, I don't know, hour or so. The instant he came on and said, "Why do people keep getting timed out?" I'm like, "Oh, this dude's gonna get it." So I've just been poking. I've been poking the whole time.
He is just as stupid as he appears.
Well, now at first he started talking about like gorillas, and now he's talking about like the Shriners and Elks Lodge. I have no idea what this guy's even talking about.
I don't think he does.
Well, he's talking about.
Just
His name is App Gaming, so it's probably about games.
Well, he's a flat earther.
Yeah, I know.
And he likes Witsit.
Yeah, I know. He is on my channel now and then, but I think he talks a lot about games though.
I don't know. Okay.
Hey, Restoring Reality, good to see you.
100 waiting.
Let's all have a moment of silence for the globe. I think that's not enough.
I'm a little surprised that the lizard people isn't doing better on this poll.
I know, right?
I voted lizard people.
It's all about the lizard people.
It is all about the lizard people.
Hey, Glenn Salch, good to see you, mate. Thank you for coming.
Like I've tried to write some videos like debunking the lizard people stuff, but I like to talk about science, and there's no science involved in debunking the lizard people stuff. At
That
least
is just crazy. Yeah, that's
wow.
out there.
Something FTF actually gets
I saw
right.
it on an episode of
science,
Business Plays about
no
the
science for debunking the lizards.
Like, that is just insane. Like one of the prince. I don't remember.
Hey, Fairy Muff, good to see you. Thank you for coming.
What's his name? King's brother. I forgot his name.
Prince Andrew.
Yeah, there was something about like because he doesn't sweat, he's a lizard and all kinds of weird shit like that.
Yeah, that was his excuse for. Oh, I didn't do any of that stuff. I sweat.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, going live in 5, 4, 3, 2,
1.
Meow, I'm Dave the Space Cat, Commander Dave in charge here, and I command that you share the stream. Otherwise, I will come and eat all of your kibbles. All of the kibbles will be mine unless you share the stream. Let it be known.
Just want to sing over it because you, mate. Thank you for joining. Glad you could make it. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of this Switch Ah, there we go. 3, 2, 1. I know it's difficult to hear me, Rachie, but I was trying to talk a bit with these very loud
We're living on a
intro music.
Floating through space.
Hey, Stephanie Campbell, good to see you.
Hey, I'm FTFE, and welcome back to the channel that does to stupidity what Thanos did to half of the known universe. You know, I've been thinking about that, right? It doesn't make sense because, you know, you get rid of half of all life, and it's going to take, I don't know, a couple hundred years, and it'd be the same place again. You know, everyone will be back. There'll be just as many people and so many problems, right? If he had the power to do that, why didn't he just make more resources for the people that there were? Yeah. Thanos, you dumbass. Anyway, hello, welcome to another show. And today I'm not going to be debating. Today I am going to be hosting a debate between Flatzoid, you may have heard of him. Yes, you've definitely heard of him, 11 frames. And one of my longtime supporters, Craven Moordik. And they will be talking about whether we landed on the moon. Now, recently I debated Brother Sanchez and we spoke about the moon. And Brother Sanchez informed me quite emphatically that the moon was actually an interdimensional lens gradient plasma. So as long as we have the debate with that in mind, we should be fine. But we'll introduce Flatzoid first. Flatzoid, people here know you, but just in case, do you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Yeah. Where you've been hiding under a rock if you don't know who I am. But yeah, you know me, I've got my channel, Flatzoid's Perspective, and I'm happy to be debating Craven Moordik.
Thank you very much. And Craven, like I said, you've been a long-time supporter of the channel. Thank you very much for coming on and having this debate and even basically setting it up for me. Do you want to say hello to everyone and introduce yourself?
And then he stuck it up my butt. Oh, sorry. I was talking to somebody. I didn't realize I was on off mute. Yeah, sorry. So most of you know me. I've been around for a while. This is actually the first time I've ever debated. I thought it'd be something fun, and Flatzoid has been gracious enough to want to do this with me. And once again, thanks to FTFE for allowing and hosting. So I just want to do a little background. I'm not an expert in anything. I'm basically a nobody. I'm just a guy. I'm an AV tech. I know things,
hey
but not a
Zane,
lot
good
of things.
to see you.
I'm actually a huge space nerd. When
I'm
I
definitely
grew
not
up,
Bro Sanchez, that's for sure.
my brother had Apollo pictures on the wall, and then I realized I found out later that, oh shit, we're not going to the moon anymore, and then I was pissed because it was just the most amazing thing. So then, then I learned about the space shuttle program and all that sort of stuff, and I actually watched the Challenger disaster live on TV. So I mean, I was probably in kindergarten, so I didn't fully understand what was happening, but I knew something bad went on, and that led me down a path of more space stuff. Like, why do they go upside down when they're going to space? What I thought they were going up. So it led me to learn a lot of stuff. I asked my dad why we weren't still going to the moon, why the space shuttle wouldn't go to the moon. It didn't really get a satisfactory answer. So then, I did everything I could to learn. And so that's where my interest went. And then I decided, you know what, let's give the whole moon landing thing a shot and see if we can solve the mystery. So once again, thanks everybody for being here. And thank you, FTFE and Mr. Flatzoid, and let's get to it.
Excellent. So I'm not debating, and I am going to just be the moderator, which is going to involve me biting my tongue a hell of a lot, because we know what I'm like. But I'm going to do that. So
I got something you can bite.
And we suggested having 10 minutes of evidence, 10-minute rebuttal of the evidence, and then like a 10-minute discussion of the evidence, and then switch to the other side. So which one of you would like to go first?
Craven can go first, it's fine.
All
Craven,
right, well, let's go.
Well, over to you then. 10 minutes. You have a screen share you need to do, or?
Yeah, I got a screen share. So.
Excellent. You should have the screen share turned on.
It says you have disabled it.
Yeah, I did. You're right. There we go. It's back.
This should be very interesting, guys.
All right. Already failing. All right. So
thank you, Godzilla, for the 5 gifted.
The Apollo program.
Good to see
Were
you,
the moon landings fake? Like I said, I've looked a lot into this, and after thinking about the shuttle disaster and reading into it and all the things involved,
sorry, I just have to
something popped into my head.
I just have to say, nothing's showing the no screen share.
Yep, you're supposed to be screen sharing. Yeah.
It says I'm screen sharing. Am I missing something?
But thank you, Godzilla. Thank you for coming. Guys, this is
screen share.
Well, he's obviously gonna have to try and demonstrate gas pressure containment for me at one stage, so we'll see if that's going to happen.
Here we go. Shit. Here it is. Okay. There we go. Derp. All right.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, you'd think I would know technology being an AV tech, but there we go. So anyway, were the moon landings fake? So, like I said, I watched the shuttle disaster live on TV as a child. Didn't clearly know what was going on, but I knew something was bad. A lot of people died. Well, 7 people died. Anyway, it made me think of something, and that was, how is it possible for an agency like NASA to be so incompetent that they allowed this to happen against the warnings of every engineer? So how is it possible that they could be this incompetent and fake the moon landings for over 50 years? And the conclusion I came to, it's not possible.
Thank you very much,
so
Godzilla,
let's
for
start
your
here with the quote.
Yeah, guys, type 1 if you
Apollo
agree.
13. Jim Lovell, Tom Hanks' Jim Lovell, he says, the astronaut is only the most visible member of a very large team, and all of us, right down to the guys sweeping the floor, are honored to be a part of it. So what I want to do is we're going to look at the team
Derek,
involved, and then we'll get down and we'll see exactly why or why not.
Compartmentalization before.
So first, speaking of Apollo 13, I want to draw your attention to
PJ, for your
£2
super chat. Really, really appreciate it, mate.
These were taken by the crew of Apollo 13.
This is easy to debunk.
After they jettisoned their crippled command module.
No, it doesn't, Nathan.
Sorry, service module. There was an explosion on the way to the moon. They had to do a loop around the moon, come back home, or they would have died. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up was Apollo 11 was the big landing. Everybody was, yay, we did it. Americans were, we beat the Russians, everything cool. Okay. International news, these guys are heroes, right? Apollo 12 happened, land on the moon. Okay, cool. People were sort of happy, not as ecstatic. By the time Apollo
David
13
Emily,
came
good to
around,
see you, mate.
nobody cared. Congress was talking about
everyone agrees with you.
pulling their budget. They weren't even broadcast on TV. It was basically like it didn't even happen until this explosion. Then all of a sudden, it was national, international news again. Everybody is watching it. So the big question is, if they wanted to cover it up, why then would they bring this to the spotlight? So with that, let's start looking at this team here. So some key facilities. Now, as I say this, I'm just scratching the surface. I could go on all day about every part of everything, and we're just going to go over the main things here, okay? So Kennedy Space Center was opened in July 1961. That's where they stack the rockets, launch the rockets. That's where everything kind of starts for most of these things. This is the Marshall Space Flight Center, opened in 1960. That's where they test engines, structural tests for stages, all that sort of stuff. That's where they make sure stuff isn't going to blow up. Johnson Space Center, that is where mission control is at. First used in 1965. Flights wouldn't go anywhere if they didn't have someone controlling them and paying attention. This is Michoud Assembly Facility. It was originally Michoud Factory Airfield. It was an NACA facility before that.
This
is where they actually build the rocket stages. They put all the things together, they make the big stages, and then they ship them off to Kennedy. This right here is the Glenn Research Center. It was originally called the it was changed to the Lewis Research Center when the National Advisory Council for Aeronautics was absorbed by NASA in 1958. Yes, the first A in NASA is aeronautics. It's not just going to space. At its peak, now, obviously, not everybody was working in this, but at its peak, the NASA employee was over 36,000 people. And there's my reference right there.
How can so many
I'll just say,
people
sorry, most of my references are from
it?
Wikipedia, but, it's good enough for what we're doing here today. So,
Martin, I already know what he's saying.
The mighty F1 engine.
That's why I can talk over it.
This is the engine that got the launch pad, got the rocket off the launch pad. The thing never would have gone anywhere without 5 of these suckers on the bottom. Designed and built by Rocketdyne. It was tested at Marshall facility. It was integrated to the Saturn V S1B stage. I could have the wrong stage there. The very first stage, integrated at Michoud facility.
Everybody knows this information.
They built 98 engines.
Nothing new.
65 were flown with a 100% success rate. At its peak staff in 1965, approximately 65,000 people were working for Rocketdyne. This is the Apollo Command Service Module. 35 were built, 19 were flown. Designed and built by North American Rockwell. It was tested at Lewis facility, integrated at Kennedy in the VAB, and about 90,000 people were working there during the Apollo program. The lunar module. This is what actually landed on the moon. It's a 2-stage. This is a descent.
I like how it actually landed on the
stage.
moon.
They built 15. They launched 10. That was designed and built by Grumman.
Hey, Jimmy, good to see you.
I could not find how many people worked for them at this time, so that's a question mark. Tested at Lewis, integrated at Kennedy. Now, the Apollo guidance computer. This is what got them to the moon and back. It was designed by a man named Doc Draper at IBM, and it was built by Raytheon. This was the most powerful computer at the time. I say at the time, it looks like nothing now. It was small. Most computers at the time took up entire rooms, sometimes whole buildings. This was about 70 pounds in all, which is tiny at the time. It was the first computer to use integrated circuits or microchips. Those chips were built by a company called Fairchild. They had 2 main facilities. They employed 8,000 people in 1966, 5,000 in Hong Kong, 3,000 in California. Now, what made this computer so amazing, it had 38,000 plus words of memory. Each word was 16 bits. So that's 15 for data and 1 for error detection. So there were 2,048 words of erasable or rewritable core magnetic memory. And it had 36,000, almost 37,000 words of rope memory. Now, what makes that specific or special? Every single one of these pieces of rope memory were woven by hand. So again, couldn't find anything other than hundreds of people worked on that. So this will all come together here in a little bit, so bear with me. This is a famous picture. It's actually one of my favorite pictures. I don't know if most people know who this is. I've heard her just called some babe. Well, yeah, she's a babe. Really cute babe, really smart babe. Her name is Margaret Hamilton. She's the director of Apollo Software Engineering Division at MIT. She had 350 people working for her, and it was about 1,400 people years of work. What this picture is this is the code that her and her team wrote for the computer. Every single piece of code was written by hand. So everything there is all the code that her and her team wrote. So it took a lot of time, a lot of people, and a lot of smarts to be able to write this computer program for this computer. All right, the spacesuit. They couldn't get there and back alive without it. So there were a few proposals for that by NASA. First was Hamilton's Standard Division of United Aircraft. That was for the backpack, and International Latex. They're now a division of Playtex. They were in a joint, Westinghouse for the PLSS, David Clark, and Public Aviation for the pressure suit. It was originally awarded, or initially was awarded to a split between Hamilton and International Latex. They divided their facilities. So ILC had about 900 employees, and there were three main parts. There was the liquid cooling garment. Obviously, that's to keep them cool in this big ass suit. There was the torso limb assembly. That's where most of the atmosphere and stuff, that's what kept them alive. And then there was the integrated thermal micrometeoroid garment. So that had 13 layers. It had the rubber coated nylon, which is kind of what held it all together.
So
5 layers of mylar.
We each get 10 minutes opening, so
sealing and also for thermal protection.
Minutes, guys.
4 layers of Dacron. It's kind of like a polymer, kind of like what milk jugs are made out of. That was for rigidity. 2 layers of Kapton film. That's like the stuff that's in
hey, Yannick,
circuit boards. It's like an insulator, and also for some more rigidity. And then the outside layers were some coated Teflon beta filament cloth. That was for flame retardant. Also, it was reflective to keep some of the sunlight off. So cooling, that sort of thing. Insulation, that's what I'm going for.
2 minutes left.
Okay, I'll try to go faster. All right. Those are all made by hand, 15 for each astronaut. Hamilton made the PLSS that had the electronics, life support, all that sort of stuff. All right, flight controllers. Now we're getting more to the yeah, okay, I'll just go through it.
Exactly.
20 to 30 in each I won't say what each of them do because I'm running out of time. Each flight controllers on 8-hour shifts. Flight directors, Chris Kraft, he was kind of the father of mission control. Flight directors, Gerald Griffin, Cliff Charlesworth, Gene Kranz, Glenn Linney, Pete Frank, and Milton Windler. And 4 of them are now dead. None of them have said anything.
1 minute.
Okay, astronauts. These are ones that didn't land. Half of them are dead. These are the ones who did land. All but 3 are dead. Highest level of government. President Richard Nixon, Vice President Spiro Agnew, speakers of the House, most powerful men in America. They're all dead. So why is this important?
Yeah, cool story,
Nobody
bro.
has said anything. In this article, this guy shows, he made a computer model showing what the viability was, how long it would last. And the longest he said it could last is 3.6 years. There's the article. That's the screenshot. Down here is the actual article so you can read it. I'm running out of time. So could they be faked? No. Over 400,000 people were involved and no one said anything. Nobody accidentally leaked anything. Nobody overheard anything. That's office staff, support staff, maintenance staff, families, everybody. No one said a word.
Let me show us how it's done.
I released the rest of my time. Well, I'm out of time. So there we go.
Okay. Right. So that was Craven Moordik's evidence for the fact that we did go to the moon. To paraphrase, his main points are the fact that there are so many people involved that it would be statistically impossible to fake it. And there has been mathematical studies to back this up. Craven presented evidence of the amount of people involved, the different companies involved, the different industries involved, and showed that there is so many different people and so many different things involved that the maths and human nature shows that it wouldn't be probable or even possible to hide a secret that big. Now, Flatzoid has 10 minutes to rebut that evidence. So, Flatzoid, over to you.
I am sharing my screen.
Okay.
I told him he can
yeah.
be he can actually feel very honored. He's the first person I actually made a nice presentation for the opening of a debate.
Well done, I appreciate it.
Pretty.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
I can see it.
Okay. Why the moon landings never happened. Okay. Arguments against the moon landings. My first argument is going to be, according to the second law of thermodynamics, if the Earth is considered an open system, the air on Earth would seek to fill the available space presented to him.
Sorry, this is supposed to be your time to rebut the thing that he's just said, and then we'll do your
I can do that.
Your presentation after. Yeah, okay, I thought it'd be better to go on each side. Yeah. Okay. So, I'll restart your timer. So, this is your 10 minutes to go over the evidence that he's just presented, and then we do a 10-minute discussion, and then we do your presentation and do the same thing with that. Is that right?
That's fine with me. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right. Okay. So, the things that he's just presented. This is your point now to go over.
Okay. Then I'm not going to be able to share screen now, but I can rebut it very easily though. Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. Let me do it again. I don't think I need 10 minutes though, but okay. Thank you, Craven, for your presentation. First of all, it was compartmentalization, and that's why people think they are doing the right thing. So let's say you get someone, like you said, created the program for any module. They're going to say, oh, I created that module, so therefore it has to go to space. That is how compartmentalization works. All scam companies work exactly the same way. You have they're compartmentalized to think I'm doing my job, and therefore my job means it's actually running. You can run scam Ponzi schemes exactly the same way. As it got to do with all the people you showed, that why didn't they talk when they died? Very simple. Half of them are Freemasons. Second of all, why would you need to talk if you probably had death threats against your family and so on? You're probably going to see some of these things also come up with my opening presentation when I open. But it's very simple to rebut. We didn't go to the moon because you didn't show any evidence that we did go to the moon. Instead, all you gave was people worked on the space shuttle, they built buildings, someone wrote code, therefore we went to the moon. That's my rebuttal.
Okay, do you give out the rest of your time for the rebuttal?
Yeah.
All right, that's fine. So what we'll do now is I'll open up for 10 minutes for you guys to just have a discussion about that in particular. And then we'll get on to Flatzoid presentation as to why he thinks we didn't go to the moon and do the same with that. So both of you, I try not to be involved, and hopefully I shouldn't have to be. But over to you for 10 minutes. Just have a conversation, guys, okay?
Sure. I want to go over these points real quick. First of all, yeah, compartmentalization. Absolutely. Everything was compartmentalized. Reason why is because it was such a huge project. Not one entity could have done it all. Now, like I said, part of that computer model took into account things like people accidentally saying something, people overhearing anything, any other sort of ways that someone could have possibly, oopsie, got that out. That's all part of that computer model. Now, yes, nobody said anything, correct. Now, let me say this. Richard Nixon, he was the most powerful person in America at the time. He was ousted in 1974 because of the Watergate scandal. And that was only him and 8 other people involved.
You the homeless drop from the street.
If only 8 people couldn't keep that secret for less than that amount of time, how could even any one of, maybe if you say compartmentalized, someone had to know.
But after that, back to the street. I'll give you a blanket.
It was true. No one has said anything. Freemasons, do you have evidence of that? How about death threats? I mean, you can say a thing, that doesn't mean it's true.
Well, obviously, I don't have it at hand, but I can try and find it for you. But yeah, a lot of them are Freemasons. You can actually get pictures of them with their rings on as well, the Freemason rings.
So also, what does being a Freemason have to do with going to the moon? I mean, it's
if
not
you belong to
some people are Freemasons.
Yeah, if you belong to the club, you're not going to how can I say, go against the club.
Are you Craven Moordik?
But what does that mean in terms of not going to
Can
the
you
moon?
imagine
I
how
mean,
many
that's
that is?
Freemasons and moon landings aren't exactly the same thing.
Yeah, but I was just rebutting you because you were saying, "Oh, why wouldn't they talk?" And I'm giving you a reason why they wouldn't talk.
Okay, fine, but why has nobody ever accidentally said something, seen something, heard something, witnessed something? Human nature is going to say that somebody at some point is going to be a whistleblower, tell-all book. They're going to want to have their name out there somehow at some point.
What do you think
That's
happens?
just how
What
people
do you think happens to whistleblowers?
They write a tell-all book and they make lots of money. Some of them do. They
R-
change the way that some industries are
What-
written. It depends on what you're talking about here. Can you give me an example?
What about Assange? What happened to him?
Who?
What's that
I
guy
don't
that
even-
created Wiki?
You mean Edward Snowden?
Julian Assange.
No, sorry.
Julian
That-
Assange, the guy that was
Assange, there we go,
yeah.
What do you think happened to him?
I've never even heard of that person.
The WikiLeaks guy, the one who was in not custody, he was like in the what's it? He was looked after by the government for ages, in their like government buildings in another country after the WikiLeaks thing.
Yeah, he had immunity, and then they betrayed him or something after a while, and now something like that. But yeah, whistleblowers don't get it easy, mate. You think it's all handy dandy if you do whistleblowing? No, if you whistleblow against, especially government agencies, you usually disappear for a reason. I don't know how much more to make it, but I mean, this debate's not about those conspiracies or why would you both. It's about, can you prove the moon landings were real? You haven't given me any argument that they went to the moon. You're just making speculations that no one talked, so therefore they went to the moon.
Well, there's reams of evidence. You want to sit and look at every single piece of evidence for hours, because we can do that. But I mean, all the reams of evidence have shown that it's true. So do we want to sit and scrutinize everything, or we want to actually like talk about why we need to keep looking at evidence and say, nope, that's not true?
Well, Craven, what information do you have on that the study that you referenced?
The mathematical thing?
Yeah.
Well, let me find the website.
To discuss that, because that's kind of the crux of your argument, right?
Yeah. So he put together a let me see if I can find the article. Basically, he put together what he took into account was things like how many people would be involved. He's got hold on, let me get to the article because it's easier to me saying it. So he took things into account like how many people would still need to be involved in order to keep it alive. Took into account people dying, people being taken off. And basically, he's got the four main big conspiracies that are on here and how likely it is. He's got the moon landing, climate change, vaccines, and suppressed cancer cure. Basically, all the things that someone's like, well, they're doing it to, make themselves, they're all trying. Everything's nefarious, and that's why.
I still don't understand what that's got to be with proving they did go to the moon. I mean, anybody can write a documentation or a book with equations and statistics and stuff. That doesn't mean it proved they went to the moon, though.
Yes, but does it? It does show that no one could have said that they did. Or sorry, it's a way of showing that it's not possible that someone could have faked it and then never said that they did.
Okay, let me put it this way.
I'm mincing my words here.
Okay, let's say put it this way. You're obviously not a Christian, or are you a Christian?
No.
Okay, and do you believe that there were 500 witnesses that saw Jesus resurrected after he died?
No.
The answer would be no, correct? Because you're not a Christian.
Correct.
So it's the same equivocation. They all say he went. There's no way to say they never said that they never saw him. Now does that prove to you that they did see Jesus?
So let me spin this around real quick. Is the Bible a history text, or is it it's not even a history text? Is it a science text?
Documentation of history.
Is it though, or is it just a collection of stories?
No, according to you, it's a collection of stories. It's a history text, a history books that's been going through centuries. But like you said,
History-
your argument is
Mhm.
based on this guy wrote this statistics and this documentation, and according to him, no one could have spoke, so therefore it's true. So now I'm saying, okay, now let's take the Bible, for instance. 500 people saw Jesus resurrected after he died. Same thing. Are you going to say now they all lied or not? You see, it's totally
No.
going off of what the actual topic is. The topic is, did the moon landings actually exist? I don't care what the guy wrote in a document or what statistics he did or what programs he wrote. That's not the argument here. The argument is, did they go to the moon? Is the moon landings real? That was what was presented as the debate. And I haven't seen anything remotely showing that to be the case.
So again, the Bible, if we're going to go there, it's not even a history book. It's someone's told a story. A few other people told a story. Someone wrote it down. It got retranslated, right?
We're not here to debate the Bible if it's a history book or not.
You
Like I
brought
said,
it up, man.
I gave you a equivocation on the same standards. 500 people saw Jesus resurrected after he died. Would you believe it to be true or not? It's
And
documented.
how many
It's
millions of
documented.
people watched people land on the moon? That's actually documented, like on video, not written, handed down, passed down,
Yeah, the
rewritten.
the saying is, I heard it on the radio, or I saw it on the TV, or this person told me they saw them, or my uncle worked on the bolt that held Neil Armstrong's chair to the ground. You understand? It's not
Why
true.
would he hold his chair to the ground? He was in a spaceship.
I'm just saying it's compartmentalized. That's all it is. There's no argument here that they did go to the moon. You're just giving me saying these guys worked on the missions. This guy says this would be true if because of statistics, and therefore it's so. That's not any argument out of anything.
Math determines our reality, though. Also,
no, I gave you actual equivocation to show you. You're not
you
going.
really
to accept,
didn't, man. You talked about Jesus. You said my Bible said a thing.
So, and your Bible said a thing. Your documentation said a thing.
I don't have a Bible.
I'm equivocating to your document is saying a thing. So my Bible's saying a thing. Do you understand the problem here?
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So now, does my Bible prove reality to you? Obviously not. Now, does your document prove reality to me? Obviously not. So are we actually going to have you presenting something that proves the moon landings to be real? Or are you just going to show documentations because of your belief that you think it's real because someone says so?
So you're saying because someone said so, right? That's what you're saying. I'm saying
that's exactly what you said. Yeah. You said someone wrote a document with statistics and therefore moon landings are real.
So, like I said, let's go back to Richard Nixon. He was the president of the United States.
Yeah.
He's dead.
I would hope
his
so.
family's dead. Everybody who's ever lived with him is dead. Who are they going to threaten to come out with this? And what's it going to benefit the people at that point?
If someone's dead, how are they going to worry about threatening if you're already dead?
Yes.
They move on to the next person.
And if there are no more people left and no one has said anything?
Do you really think there's never going to be any people left? That's naive. That's very naive.
The point I'm making here is that not a single person, even on their deathbed, has said, yep, it's all fake.
Weird.
That's the point I'm trying to make
How
here.
about Buzz Aldrin that they're considering being senile now because he keeps on blurting it out that they're never gone, that it's been animations?
Do you have evidence of that? Because
There's
I can think
video
of a couple that are taken out of context.
Yeah, well, there's video evidence of interviews where he says that plainly.
You're talking about the ones that you're talking about the one with the 8-year-old girl that all y'all take out of context?
Not just
because
that
I've seen that. I've seen that whole interview.
There's a few of them. One where he's even on stage and poop drunk, and the guy's trying to get him off the stage because he's telling everybody how fake it was.
Once again, it's taken out of context.
No.
Can you show that video?
I'll have to look it up.
I mean, if you can show me that, then we'll go ahead and talk about it. But I'm telling you, what you're saying was taken out of context. So I'll tell you the one with the 8-year-old girl.
Okay, go ahead. What does the one of the 8-year-old girl say?
She said, "Why have we not gone back to the moon?" I'm paraphrasing here, but he said, "That's a big question for an 8-year-old girl." And then he talked about how there's no more funding, how nobody wants to go back, all the reasons that we refunded that money. We didn't go back because we didn't go. That doesn't mean we never went. It means we didn't go back because we didn't go back.
So what are the words for because we didn't go? What does that mean?
I just said what that means. He said the reason why we haven't gone back, all the reasons why. Why didn't we go back? Because we didn't.
You know that's a lie.
Doesn't
He
mean
never
we
said that, by the way.
Should we find that video? Because
Yeah.
I bet I can find it.
Yeah, get it up and we can watch it.
Get it up, giggity.
But like I said, I still haven't got anything to rebut because there's nothing argued that the moon landings have been real.
Your whole rebuttal was compartmentalization.
Yeah, because that's all you presented was we had this amount of people working on it, so therefore it had to be true. No one spoke, so therefore it had to be true. It's called
400,000 people.
Yeah, and they
even compartmentalized. That's a whole lot of people for not one person to have said something. That's the point I'm making here.
Okay. And you do know there are people that used to work for NASA that say it's flat Earth.
I'm not even talking about. I'm talking about people that weren't even in NASA.
Person. You said one person. Yet there are people that used to work for NASA that say it's baloney. So you really talking rubbish.
You got evidence of someone in NASA who said that? Someone who was an engineer on the Apollo program that says that it was fake?
I didn't say Apollo. I said worked for NASA.
Okay, so what does that have to do with anything then?
You said there's 400,000 people that worked, so therefore it had to be true. Okay, Let's put it this way. If your granddad went and painted the footstool, does that mean they went to space?
Painted the footstool on what? I'm talking about things that were directly involved with making rockets and making everything and getting to the moon. Yes, if he painted a footstool that went into the Apollo LEM that he can show that he made and how he made it and why and when and everything, then that's pretty compelling evidence.
Have you found the video yet?
1 minute.
But like I'm saying, that's how compartmentalization works. The people believe what they're doing is true. So they're not going to talk because they literally believe it. It doesn't make it true.
All right, I found it. It's actually a 17-minute video, but let me try to find that one spot.
Well, there's only like 1 minute left of the back and forth. After we've done Flatzoid's bit, we can always come back to cover a bit more stuff if we want to. So, do you guys want to move on to Flatzoid's presentation now, and then we can have a discussion on that?
I'm all right with that.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Okay. In that case, Flatzoid, over to you for 10 minutes for your presentation as to why we didn't go to the moon.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sharing. I hope you.
And by we, I mean humans. Lizard people might have. We don't.
Okay, so you're ready. Let's do this. Okay. Why the moon landings never happened. Argument against the moon landings. According to the second law of thermodynamics, if the Earth is considered an open system, the air on Earth would seek to fill the available space presented to him. So I'm just showing you this is how an open system would be considered in thermodynamics. You have an open boundary. It is not physical, so it cannot stop matter and energy from going through the boundaries. So I would like, if it's possible, for Craven to be the first one in history to demonstrate gas pressure existing without containment, instead of just pointing to the sky. I would really want an actual demonstration of this. Okay, and then the same would be if the Earth is considered a closed system. Great, then the air is here to breathe, but nothing can leave the Earth. So therefore, you wouldn't have astronauts in so-called space, and they wouldn't be able to go to the moon. This would be a closed system. Only energy can go through the boundaries, no matter. That's all based on the law of thermodynamics. So that would be my main argument, and I would really love to see a rebuttal to that. Okay, now the second argument is an argument that the astronauts are lying. Ooh, this is a big one. Okay, first we get to Donald Pettit. He says he claims to have seen the stars, the nebula, and so forth from space. I mean, that's quite a clear statement. He knows he saw stars and everything. We get to Mike Massimino, also an astronaut on the ISS, also claims with Donald Pettit to have seen the stars, nebula, and so forth. So, great so far. They're saying exactly the same thing. But let's move to Neil Armstrong. Neil Armstrong claims it's pitch black, that you see no stars. Why is that? So, and he specifically said between Earth and the moon is exactly the same. So you don't see stars before you get to the moon, and you don't see stars when you get on the moon. So there's no cherry picking saying, oh, you just took it when he's on the moon. No. Now, this is already showing that why are astronauts lying? Because 2 astronauts already said they do see stars. Neil Armstrong says he doesn't. Now we move to Buzz Aldrin. Buzz Aldrin claims space to be a deep black, but with velvet sheen to it. So he can't really be honest. He's saying, yeah, it looks black, but there's velvet sheen, so we can assume that means there's stars. Totally contradicting what Neil Armstrong just said. And what do you know? They were on the same mission together. Let's move to Chris Hadfield. Chris Hadfield also claims space to be a deep black, but with velvet sheen to it. So the same as Buzz Aldrin, and going totally against what Neil Armstrong says. So who's lying, guys? Then we get to Mitchell Collins. Also was one of the 3 on the Apollo 11. Mitchell Collins says he can't remember seeing any stars. This was an actual interview when they got back. And then later on, he wrote in his book, he states that he does see stars. So what usually happens when you lie, guys? You're going to go and try and fix it. He doesn't realize that he never said he didn't see any stars. So he backtracked and contradicted himself. That's traits of a liar. Now, argument against the moon landings. Would they all contradict one another's observation if they really did go to the claimed space they go to? So, stars or no stars? Which one is it? So far, it's in the middle because half say yes, half say no. So who maybe they went to a different space or something. Who knows? Argument against the moon landings again. The Van Allen radiation belt would give a major problem to the film used in the Hasselblad cameras. We all know this, very simple stuff, because it's based with chemicals. And if you have radiation on chemicals, you're going to have huge problems. Let's take, for instance, Apollo detectors that actually did tests using radiation from the magnetosphere in a microwave, just for Pete's sake, and they found it to fog the film up and give it a green tint. This was just film exposed to radiation just from a microwave. Now, that's not the same as it would be against the Van Allen radiation. It would even be worse. Let's go. You all know people that use films, usually when you go to an airport, you don't want it to go through the scanner because the radiation messes the film up. Hence why I put this just to show you. It's always been that way. And then the film was also exposed to radiation. How do they have these perfect shots? If you have radiation and problems that show fogging and color deposition, then why do they have such perfect shots? Not to mention their cameras that are stuck on their chest with the same exposure, and you can't really change any settings. Let's get to the next one. This is the same. They've tested the same film from Apollo detectives in a vacuum. Now note, this vacuum isn't close to what a vacuum is supposedly as the ultra vacuum of space, and yet it changes the contrast and the hue balances of the film. How did they get the Hasselblads to have such perfect color contrast with their films? And then next, it's still the same thing. You can see how rubbish it makes it. One without vacuum, one with vacuum. It totally bleeds it out and changes the contrast. Then we get to, why Buzz Aldrin and other astronauts never were able to meet the demands of Bart Chabal and just place their hands on the Bible and claim that they did, swear to God they did land on the moon. You know why they couldn't do that? Well, I'm not going to say. You could probably know why. Because it's usually someone who's got a guilty conscience. And then we get to Gary Fong. This guy was an expert, still an expert. He was actually a representative for Hasselblad cameras in the time. You guys should actually go watch his video on this sometime so you can get much better argument to see all the arguments. But he explains it exactly correct why you wouldn't be able to use the Hasselblad in the environment they claimed it to happen. How did you change the film in a dust environment? Now remember that the moon is said to have such a lot of dust that it gets in every nook and cranny, and it's very dangerous for even the astronauts at long exposure on the moon because it gets everywhere. Now, the camera has nooks and crannies all over it. How did they do anything? Because the dust would get in everywhere. and you have to change the film, you have to open the backing case to get the film changed. Very odd stuff. Now we get to the same thing. How do you change the film in a vacuum? Now, we all know what happens in a vacuum to every chemical. It starts boiling. So as soon as they're going to expose it to a vacuum, the film will start boiling, and you wouldn't be able to have the perfect photos, as we put it. Now, I just, for instance, for fun's sake, put the daytime temperatures near the lunar equator reached boiling point of 250 degrees Fahrenheit. It's 120 degrees Celsius, guys. It's kind of like making a roast chicken, you could say. While nighttime temperatures get in the chilly, minus 208 degrees Fahrenheit, that's minus 130 degrees Celsius. You think anything that they place in their cameras are going to withstand that environment? I'd like to see. So, how do we know they went to the moon? Simple. That they never went to the moon. Simple. It violates natural law. So, we would like a demonstration to show against that. They always contradict each other and themselves, like I've shown. And none of the equipment would work even if they could magically go to Narnia. And I give up the rest of my time.
Okay, thank you very much, Flatzoid. That was excellent. So now we have back to Craven Moordik for 10 minutes of rebuttal to the specific evidence that Flatzoid has just brought up. To just quickly go over it, Flatzoid has suggested that because of the second law of thermodynamics, that space basically can't be real. He went over problems that would exist within the Van Allen radiation belt, affecting the film within cameras and how it would affect humans and stuff like that. He pointed to contradictory statements from different astronauts as to the nature of space and how it appears. Did I miss anything, Flatzoid?
That's about it. And the equipment that can't really work in the environment.
Yep. And he suggested that the Hasselblad cameras that they used in space for taking these photos couldn't have operated in the harsh conditions that were presented with, problems with dust on lunar surface and things like that. So, Craven, 10 minutes, over to you to rebut that evidence.
All right. First one is, we didn't go to moon because space fake. I'm not going to have a flat earth debate here. This is not the scope of this argument, because that's where we're going with that one. Don Petit, Mike Massimino, and Chris Hassel, whatever his name was, I forgot. Hatfield. They were not Apollo astronauts. They were in low Earth orbit. They're going to see completely different things. Neil Armstrong, when did he say he didn't see stars? And then one of those, he was on the moon's surface in the daytime. How many stars do you see outside during the day? Michael Collins, the thing you're talking about with Michael Collins, that was a very specific experiment they did on, I think it was day 2. It was a solar corona experiment. The way that they were going on their path, they're going on sort of like the night side, so that their path to the moon actually had it so that the moon was eclipsing the sun. So what they were trying to do is they were trying to take some photos of the sun's corona based on their path. So once again, if you're looking at the sun, how many stars are you going to see? And also, let's see. He said Buzz Aldrin was describing it. The Apollo computers actually were able to find, they even had star maps that they brought on with them. They would track and enter stars, and that's how the computer was able to determine their position in space. So there absolutely were stars in space at the time. Let's see, the Hasselblad camera and the film. Can you show what kind of film they used? Because what I see is they actually used a different film. It was a different emulsion because they knew they were going into a vacuum. It was a different emulsion so that it could carry away the static to go through the camera that had no, what's that word? The thing that makes things slide, lubricant. They had to remove the lubricants from the camera. The camera was very heavily modified in order to go to the moon. It's basically like the world's most expensive single-use camera. They had to have different film made by Kodak. It was thinner, so they could fit more shots in the reel at one time, and it had a different emulsion for those exact purposes. In terms of radiation, there was actually less radiation in space than there is going through an airport scanner. There's I don't have the numbers in my head, but an airport scanner. It's meant to like go through everything. Now, even the metal in a camera can block there is more radiation in space. Correct. We went past the Van Allen belts. So that magnetic field will actually control some of that ionizing radiation coming in. But even the stuff that's on the moon, the camera itself, based on its materials, even the paint that's put on it, is going to help mitigate some of that. I want you to go ahead and tell me about that vacuum experiment, because I think I know the one you're talking about, and those were not the same conditions that camera and film was exposed to. In terms of Gary's video, I've seen that one also, and he is also not taking into account the number of modifications made to that camera. They didn't just take some off-the-shelf Hasselblad camera and then go down to Woolworths and buy some film. They actually took all that into account. They knew what they were doing. They knew what was going to happen, and they made things accordingly. Buzz Aldrin punching a guy. You want to know what happened with that? That guy was harassing him for days and days and days, calling him a liar, calling him a coward. Finally, after him following him across the street, getting in his face, Buzz Aldrin multiple times saying, "Leave me alone," he punched the dude in the fucking face. So it's nothing about being lied to. It's about being harassed. Let's see. Temperature on the moon. Yes, there are very large fluctuations, but we're talking over the course of a day, just like on Earth. Early in the morning, it's cold. Late at night, it's cold. Around noon, it's reaching its peak temperature. The moon landings were in about early to mid-morning, if you talk about a lunar morning. A lunar day is about 28 days. So we're talking a huge fluctuation over the course of an entire lunar day, not in the couple of hours that they were on the moon. And I think that's most of your points. Did I miss anything?
That's about it.
Okay. Right. So now we'll open it up for 10 minutes. You guys can discuss the specific things there. Get a bit deeper into it if you like. I'm really biting my tongue, but yeah, please, 10 minutes. Have your open discussion. Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, the form they used, they actually went to Kodak and they got the same form. The only thing is the backing is different because they don't make that backing anymore, but it's the same form. So
that it wasn't the same film because it had different backing on it, almost like they made specific backing.
The backing doesn't change the film's correspondence, how it reacts. The backing is simply there to hold it in rigid space. So it's just a different polymer at the back. The film itself is exactly the same from Kodak. And Kodak, even when they were commissioned for it, they didn't create it specifically for space. They made it so it would work with the model camera presented to them. And yeah, by the way, Fong did say the actual model camera, it's not some specific, very special camera they built for them, Hasselblad. It's a model they had that they modified. And with Bart's brow,
used the word heavily.
Again, they're heavily modified. They just stuck the exposure to a certain that stays on the same exposure, and they made it that it would be a bit more sealed tight. Like you said, lubricants. By the way, lubricants used would have more problems because lubricants boil in a vacuum. You wouldn't use lubricants in a vacuum because it would give the opposite effect of what you want. When it comes to Bart Chabrol, he asked Buzz Aldrin multiple times just to stick his hand on the Bible and claim that he went to the moon, like he did to any other astronauts as well. Not one astronaut ever said, yes, they went to the moon and placed their hands on the Bible. So his excuse was hitting him after he's harassing me. But if he just did it in the first instance, there wouldn't have been harassment, would there? Yeah, I don't agree that he had to harass him, but the argument was, if you're not lying, you would just stick your hand on the Bible.
So if someone came up to your face and just said, do it, you would just do it? Because it's when he's trying to live his everyday life and someone's coming in his face. You think you're going to like that?
He even had set up a meeting with him where he came into the meeting set up, and he saw it was him and he decided to leave because he saw he had the Bible in his hand with him.
Sorry, I was only half listening.
But like I'm saying, if someone had to make a claim against me and say, okay, would you place your hand on the Bible and make a claim that you did? I say, yes, I did, if I know I'm not lying. You understand? It's very simple stuff. It's not like, you're just going to avoid it with the plague. And he avoided it constantly. That's why he ended up harassing him, which I don't agree he needed to harass him. But his point was, look, no matter how hard I'm trying to get him to it, he's not going to just concede.
So this guy you're talking about, that was kind of his whole thing, was getting in
Parts
people's
about that.
faces, and that was his whole thing, was getting in people's faces and harassing them. So I mean, yes, but actually no. In terms of the film, it was specially selected because it was resistant to things like radiation.
Okay, show me one film in history. Show me one film that's resistant to radiation.
The Ektachrome black and white films were used. That was they even did extensive testing on the way back to make sure that there wasn't a lot of damage done to that. And you did say lubricants, and I'm pretty sure I said that the lubricants were removed so that they wouldn't boil off. I'm pretty sure those are the words that I said.
Okay, I thought I heard you say they did put more lubricants in.
If they did use a lubricant, it would have been Teflon, which is not liquid. But once again, they were planning on only using these cameras once, and most of them are still on the moon.
Do you know what off-gassing is?
What does that have to do with the camera?
Everything has what you call off-gassing, Tim. So that camera, everything inside that camera is going to have off-gas because of the vacuum, and it won't function.
And why would it not function?
When it off-gasses, it's going to seize because it's going to change.
Can you explain to me how?
Everything in a Hasselblad camera has a very specific tolerance. It has to be like a set timepiece. If something is out of place, if something changes with temperature, you understand how expansion happens with temperature.
So how long were they on the moon? Let's just say Apollo 11. How long were they on the moon actually doing their EVA?
They weren't on the moon. That's the whole point.
Okay. So supposedly, how long were they on the moon? How about that?
A few hours.
A few hours. What do you think the temperature changes are going to be in a few hours on a lunar day?
It doesn't matter. If you're exposed to 120 degrees Celsius, it's going to have thermal expansion because it's constantly in the sun. So that thermal expansion of all those things in his camera is going to thermally expand, and it's going to seize. Not to mention all the dust I was talking about and the radiation and everything that happens together. It's just impossible. Would you know how they're going to change the film once they used it up? I mean, they took a lot of photos, so they had to change the film.
Yeah,
so
they had it in a magazine.
Okay, so how did they change the film in that environment?
I've actually got some pictures of that. If we want to see it, do we want to see the cameras? Because, like I said, it was heavily modified. It wasn't, they didn't just go down to Walgreens and buy a camera. They had Kodak and Hasselblad and Zeiss.
Sorry, guys. I'm going to have to quickly be off for 2 minutes because I got to quickly put the power on.
Okay.
Yeah, no worries. Absolutely. You can just rejoin the same link and everything. I mean, you should just automatically reconnect, shouldn't you, sir?
Sorry, 2 minutes, guys. Literally 2 minutes. See you guys now.
Yeah, no worries.
Actually, I've got a couple. I've got a picture of the path they took out of the Van Allen belts. And I've got a whole series of pictures of the Hasselblad camera.
Sorry, I'm doing a part.
Hey guys, I am back. Sorry, I had to change the power off because it was sucky. Okay, join. It's good to be back. Okay, let's get the stream going. I can't believe this guy. He's just making shit up, actually, and he's not actually rebutting anything.
Like load shedding and stuff. So they turn the power on and off at certain times. So he was running on a generator before but they've just switched the power back on, so we can go off the generator onto main power. So he's had to leave and rejoin.
Okay, I'm back.
Flatzoid,
yes, I'm back and back.
Excellent. Right, you guys had a few minutes of the back and forth left there. Was there any particular points that you wanted to go over?
Yeah, I would still, I would just like to ask, why is the hand wave dismissing thermodynamics? That's not flat Earth though. That's thermodynamics. It's simply
that's the whole crux of the argument. We can't go to space because space fake.
no,
That's not really an argument. That's
the thing is, if you can't provide evidence that you can go to space, then you can't claim the moon landings to be real.
The whole gas pressure without a container thing. We could go on and on and on for hours, and you're never going to be accepting of anything I have to say. That's a dumb argument to bring up.
I agree. Yeah, you can't accept anything I'm going to say because I would like a demonstration.
Once again, I'm going to say the same thing, and then you're going to say the same thing. We're going to go around in circles and circles and circles. You can't demonstrate Earth on Earth.
So we both agree.
Earth.
So we both agree. Then that's just hand wave dismissal. Then
I wouldn't hand wave dismiss it because it's pointless. It is
because it's not demonstratable. That's why
it is not. It's not relevant to this argument.
It is relevant.
I'm sorry. You like to say it is, but it's not.
You can't.
You can't say we don't go to space because space fake. That is. First of all,
exactly.
what does the second law of thermodynamics say? If we're going to go down this road, what does it say?
In an isolated system, entropy will always increase.
Very good. Do you know what the isolated system is?
The universe.
Thank you.
And it's hypothetical.
Is the Earth the universe though, or is the Earth the Earth?
The Earth is a system inside the isolated system.
So then
separated system.
So then you can have air on Earth and not in space.
False. Have you ever opened a fish tank in a vacuum before that has air pressure? Let's take two systems. You have a system that's got air in it that's closed, and you open it inside a vacuum. What happens?
Okay, once again, a fish tank is not the Earth.
Again, you had just made a claim, and I'm debunking it with actual demonstration. Heck, a balloon popping.
No, you're comparing the Earth to a fish tank.
A balloon
That's
popping.
not the same thing.
A balloon popping is debunking your actual assertion.
It's really not.
I'm not
just you not understanding how gravity works doesn't mean it's not a thing.
And who said anything about gravity? We want you to demonstrate gas pressure being held down indefinitely without containment.
Yeah, it's called gravity.
Gravity does nothing. Gravity can't do anything. So if you got this gravity, can you look at Craig?
Gee, it looks like we're turning this into a flat Earth.
No. I'm not saying
we were talking about the moon landings.
It is moon landings.
No, it's not. You're saying
your moon violates the
because Earth flat. That's not
no. The argument is
that's exactly what you're
saying. The argument is your astronauts go to a place that violates the second law of thermodynamics. Nothing about flat Earth. Nothing about
the
globe
second law
Earth.
of thermodynamics says in an isolated system, entropy will always increase over time. So what does that have to do with popping a balloon?
You get three systems in thermodynamics. The isolated system is the surrounding boundary. That means it's always going to increase in that boundary because it cannot decrease. You know why? Because you have thermodynamic systems for a reason.
You can say it all slowly with more inflection, but it doesn't change your point.
It does. Pop a balloon, what happens?
Once again, a balloon is not the Earth.
Is it a thermodynamic demonstration or not?
Is it the same as the gravity holding the atmosphere to the Earth or not?
Okay, let's take a balloon and pop it at ground level, where your gravity is the strongest. Does the gravity fall to the ground, or does it disperse into the surrounding system?
It goes down. Not all of it goes up.
Sorry, what? You saying you pop a balloon? You saying you pop a balloon and all the gas goes to the ground? Is that what you just said?
That is not what I said. I said some of it goes down, some of it goes up. There is more dynamic molecules, whatever you want to call it, lower down. Yes. Now, once again,
that's false.
A balloon.
You know what Dalton's law is?
A balloon is not the Earth.
I never said it was.
You are trying to equivalate a balloon to the Earth.
No, I'm trying to show you we can demonstrate gas pressure always requires containment. You have not been able to demonstrate anything other than hand wave dismiss it.
Once again, I think Ranty has said this 1,000 times. It's atmospheric pressure. It's not gas pressure.
Okay, what is your atmosphere comprised of? Dalton's law. Come on.
Atmosphere.
What is your atmosphere comprised of? Go ahead.
Atmosphere.
Sorry, I'm asking you a very specific question. Your
Do
atmosphere
you want do you want all of
comprised-
it? It's oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, helium. What are you going for here?
Oh, what are those? Are those gases?
Yes,
Sorry,
that does.
am I stuttering? Are those gases?
Yes,
So gas law then.
atmospheric pressure is not the same as gas pressure.
Atmo is gas. Atmo
Your
means
point
air.
being what? Because gas is in the word atmosphere, then atmospheric pressure and gas pressure are the same thing?
Everything, even your atmospheric pressure is based on gas behavior.
And
you
everything
understand that?
in our isolated system of the universe has gravity too. Molecules follow gravity. Air molecules, gas molecules, whatever you want to call it, they're pulled to the earth.
Where's
So
the
there's going to be
where's
more.
the demonstration for this?
It's the earth.
Where's the
So
demonstration for
is
this?
this all we're going to do? We're just going to.
No, we can
The
move on
demonstration
now.
is the earth.
Just
Yeah,
admit
because
you
we're.
can't- just
I
admit
told
you
you we're going
can't
to go around in
demonstrate it.
circles and circles on this whole
We
thing.
can move on.
Once-
Just as
and
you
I knew
concede.
you were
Just
going
stop
to
us
say that.
moving in
Yeah.
circles. Let me just see if I can clarify the question. So, Flatzoid is just asking if there is a specific demonstration that shows that gas pressure, or pressurized atmo can exist without a physical container. Is there anything that you can respond to that can explain how it's happening?
The atmosphere needs no physical containment.
I
And
asked the
why would that-
demonstration, yeah.
Once again, you can't demonstrate. You're going to say this whole thing. I've seen your arguments before. Scale, they all say scale. Well, scale does make a difference. I can't demonstrate something like the earth without using the earth, because everything else, the earth is going to take precedence over because it's a lot bigger. Earth really big, people really small.
Okay, so let's take, just to do so we can move on. Let's say you take a fish tank, you stick sulfur hexafluoride in it. It's very dense gas, you would agree. So the gravity is pulling it down, and you're sticking it on the ground. Would it stay there indefinitely, or would it still disperse into the surrounding system?
Once again, a fish tank is not the earth.
Congratulations. Hand wave dismissed, guys. So let's move on to the next question.
You're putting two different things together
You
here.
just had
I'm
to
not conceding that you're making a false equivalency.
It's not a false equivalency.
A fish tank is not the earth, dude.
Are you saying
can say it as many times
thermodynamics?
as you want.
Are you saying thermodynamics has got nothing to do with Earth?
I said that your argument has nothing to do with whether or not we went to the moon.
It has everything to do with the moon. The reason being, if you cannot
Because you say
go
Earth,
to space,
because you say Earth
then-
flat, so space fake.
No,
so
I
no
didn't
moon.
say. Again, I'm not saying Earth flat. I'm saying if you cannot have something demonstrating that you can violate the second law of thermodynamics, because that's exactly what space is claimed to do, then you cannot
It's really
go
not.
to the.
You're just
Then
misunderstanding
you
it.
cannot go to the moon that's claimed to be in that system, because the system of Earth and space are two separate systems. Thermodynamically, they're two separate systems.
But thermodynamically, they're also all part of the one system, the one isolated system of the universe. Now, also, like I said, no moon cause space fake is not a very good argument.
It's a brilliant argument, hence why you handwave dismiss it.
Now, you not understanding how something works is not an argument against it.
Dude, you just said you can't demonstrate it. You claim gravity that's not even a force. You say
I didn't say gravity was a force, now did I?
okay, so you F equals ma, which requires it to be a force to pull gas down.
So are you trying to pull the whole Newton-Einstein thing again now too? Once
No,
again, I mean, we could have this conversation all day.
You just claim gravity pulls gas down. Did you not?
It does. Can you prove that it doesn't? Oh, or do you think that
Yes, I
gravity
can prove it
exist?
doesn't. I can prove that it doesn't. Helium. Okay, now next. Can you
Helium
please-
is a different. It's a different element, dude. It's held differently.
We're not debating relative density, disequilibrium, or gravity here. The simple fact is you claim gravity to be a force. And if you say it's not a force, then you can't claim it to be pulling gases down, because you require a force for F equals ma to be constant. If it doesn't have F equals ma, no force, you can't claim F equals ma, therefore gas cannot be held down to anything.
Is this really where we're going? The whole I don't believe.
So
gravity.
then just concede. Just concede you can't demonstrate it. That's all. Then that's all. Then we can move on to the next arguments.
Is the globe based off of a grid system?
Oh wow, guys, he's not even just.
Yes, can we move on, because I could
And-
have this argument all day and it's not going to get us anywhere.
So no conceding then.
I'm not going to concede anything. They're different things. They're
No, they're
completely
not.
irrelevant.
Definitely not.
I've got a
Last-
concession to make in our debate on Monday, Flatzoid.
That'll be good. But yeah, we can move on to the next subject, guys. He can't concede that he can't. Well, he has to by default concede that he can't demonstrate it. So
Once again, like you like to say, scale. I can't demonstrate Earth outside of Earth on Earth.
Okay. Right.
So-
Let's bring it back round to specifics for the moon landing.
equipment, yeah, the equipment. Or we want to go
Yeah.
back to. I'd love to go to that video that he was supposed to show us with Buzz Aldrin and the little girl.
Yeah. Let me pull up here.
Yeah, I think it's about 7 minutes 30 into that video that you're talking about, where the girl asks that particular
Like
question.
7:12 or something like that. I'll bring it to like 7 minutes, if that's okay.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
it's like 2 or 3 minutes. It's a 17-minute clip. But if we listen to the words, the last words he say is because we didn't go, yes. But when you listen to his entire argument, he's giving a good explanation of why we didn't go back. So if you're ready, I can go ahead and pull that up.
Yeah, sure. Feel free to screen share. It should give the audio through. I don't know.
Hopefully, otherwise I don't know what I'm doing here, but let me make sure I'm not muted or something.
Oh, yeah, can't hear anything.
No, there's no audio coming through.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why
just
is-
have to see the closed caption on that works.
Yeah, why is no one gone to the moon? Oh, but it doesn't show his captions there.
He does ramble a bit.
Yeah, it's not showing anything for him though. So, but that's a big thing for a little girl to say.
Yeah. So I've watched this video quite a few times. Yeah, and he says that that's a big question. It's not your question, because the truth is we didn't go. Right, and that's the words he uses, right? Do we both agree with that? That in response to the little girl asking about why haven't we gone back, he says, that's a big question. It's not your question, it's my question, because the truth is we didn't go. So, do we both agree that that's what he said?
I think so. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. So, based on that knowledge of those being the words, Craven, what would your explanation of him saying that be?
It's him leading up to why we haven't been back. We didn't go. We haven't been in such a long time because we didn't go. Basically saying we didn't go back because we haven't gone back. I believe he does go into a bit of more of an explanation as to why we haven't. It's actually been a while since I've seen this clip. Also, I think before that he does describe actually what it's like on the moon. So if he's saying one thing here and then something else before that, is he contradicting himself? Or once again, are we taking one sentence that a guy said and saying, nope, there's my proof?
Oh, it would have been awesome if you could watch what he says there.
I could press play again. I just didn't want to talk over him.
I think what I've said is pretty accurate. I have watched that a fair few times, and I do admit that he says those words. We didn't go. So why Flatzoid? I think what Craven was saying there is that why would he say we didn't go if he just spent the entire interview talking about him going? Why would he contradict himself in that way?
Because he's contradicting himself, because they're seeing him as senile now. Because he's trying to, as you would say, double speak, because he can't accept that they never went. Remember, they're seeing, you guys would agree, they're calling Buzz Aldrin senile lately because he keeps blurting out on interviews that they're never gone, and it's fake. And it's not once, not twice, it's like at least 4 or 5 times on different occasions. Why would they need to call him senile now? Because he keeps blurting out that they've never been to space. And you can make all the excuses you want. If a guy's going to keep on saying it at different places, different interviews, it's not because he's senile, it's because his conscience is eating at him.
Who's calling him senile?
That's what the rhetoric is. Don't you know this?
The rhetoric by who? I've never heard anybody call him senile. I mean, he's in his 90s, so he's older, but I wouldn't call him senile. He seems pretty cognizant to me.
I agree he's not senile, but they're saying he's senile.
You just said he was.
I said that's what they're saying.
No, to be fair, Craven, I think he's saying that that's what he's heard the rhetoric is, that he's senile. I don't. I think Flatzoid's perspective is he's not senile. He's just, his guilty conscience is eating away at him.
Exactly.
Right. I'm just trying to make sure that I steel man the pair of you.
Buzz Aldrin is fighting his family claims of dementia.
So are you saying it's his family that's claiming that he's senile?
They're claiming he's fighting dementia. He's dement, and well, that's what I'm seeing out. Yeah, but it's not just from his family. But there's a whole bunch of things. Yeah, what's going on with Buzz Aldrin? But yeah, apparently he's got dementia and he's fighting it or something. I don't know.
I mean, if that's the case, sure. I mean, to be fair, once you get into your 90s, I mean, a lot of people wind up getting dementia. It's pretty common.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, yeah, he's not going to. He could say things, you know, get his words twisted. I mean, I'm only 41 and I get my words twisted all the time.
Cool. So then he could have actually just blurted it out that it's the truth then. And
or he could have just, you know,
can make
his words since
excuses. Or people make excuses like he's got dementia because they can't let the truth out. Remember your opening, you said no one's talked about it before, yet he's talking about it. And what's the excuse when someone talks about it? Oh no, he's just senile. He's got dementia. Okay. It's age.
So then are they going to threaten his family's life then if we're going to go down that road? Can I go ahead and stop sharing this? I think we're beating
sure.
this one sentence.
But I would love to get back to where we were on the equipment, with the film and the camera though, because you said you'd be able to show me how they changed the film in the vacuum.
So just to staleman you here, Flatzoid, you're claiming that they changed the film whilst on the moon, and you want to know how they did that, right?
Well, it was mounted to his chest, and you've only got a certain amount of film you can use, and they took a lot of pictures, so they had to change the film.
They did have to change the film. You're correct. One of the modifications actually that was made to the film was to have thinner film, so they could take, instead of like 20 to 60 frames, they could take about 160 to 200 plus. However, they were able to change the film in the magazine. If you're all right, I can go ahead and show a couple of pictures here.
That'd be great.
Yeah, please do.
Yep.
Are you sharing it? There we go. So
there are only one or two cameras that actually survived or that actually came back from the moon, but this is some of this may be one or two that actually made it back. Now, look here. We'll get to the film here in a minute. This is the film magazine that they used. You can see these big switches and levers and stuff. That's so that they could control the camera with the big heavy ass gloves on. So the film was in a magazine like this. So when the film got full, they flipped this little thing, took the magazine off, they pulled the dark slide. I'll get to that in a second. And then they put the magazine back on. That's how they changed the film.
So you're claiming that backing plate is airtight?
I didn't say the backing plate is airtight.
The backing plate, that backing plate that you're showing on the bottom there, that was when they take the canister off. That's a backing plate that has to be airtight then. Is that what you're claiming?
I didn't claim it was airtight. You said that. I just said they had to remove it.
So then they put it.
I can explain to you why they had to remove it. It has nothing to do with being airtight.
Yeah, but I'm saying it has to be airtight if it needs to work. It's not airtight. And what with all the dust going in there while it's open, you wouldn't have the equipment working. That's my whole point of the argument. Okay, so you're making my point by showing it wouldn't work because of the environment.
I'm really not. See, check this thing out. See what this thing is here? Yeah. That's a Rizzo plate.
Mm-hmm.
That was put on all the moon cameras, even the ones in the CME.
Yeah. And that works how to keep the dust out and keep it airtight for the vacuum.
Why does it need to be airtight? I'm not understanding why you think it needs to be airtight.
The film would boil if it's not airtight. The chemicals would outgas. And like I said before,
it had a different emulsion on it for this exact reason.
And again,
the people who went to the moon, they knew what they were doing, dude.
Not actually. Look at it this way. If you have plastic, what happens when you put it with 120 degrees Celsius? What happens to
They
plastic?
weren't in a, so you're saying that they were in 120 degrees Celsius in the morning on the moon. Is that what you're saying?
I brought it up on the presentation. That's apparently they were in the daytime there, were they not?
That was full daytime, like noon.
120.
Where they landed was more like morning.
Okay.
We have morning on Earth, right?
What was the temperature then and morning for them?
I don't know. It wasn't 120 degrees Celsius.
Can you bring up a citation proving that it wasn't 120 degrees like they keep stating it is?
Where do they state that it's 120 degrees on the moon at all places during the day?
They state on the daytime it's 120 degrees Celsius. They claimed they were there at the daytime. You making a claim now that they went there in the morning, so therefore the temperature has to be different. So therefore you need to bring citation up for that. Otherwise it's just a hearsay story.
It's really not. You're just not understanding. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Let's try 11. I had a video of this and I lost it. Sites.
But I would still love you to explain how things don't have thermal expansion when it has those degrees.
It wasn't those degrees.
When something gets heated up, you have thermal expansion. All those all those parts in that camera would not function because of the thermal expansion and outgassing.
They wouldn't function because of thermal expansion?
Nope.
Why not?
You know how film cameras work, right? They're very specific. They have very little tolerances. It's like a watch. It has a very little tolerance. If something's out of whack, it's not going to work like it's supposed to.
It's almost like they took this into account and built the camera specifically for that, isn't it?
What did they use to take this into account?
Sorry, what did they use to do what?
You said they took it into account. So what did they use to take this into account?
Yeah, let's switch back to my photos here because they designed the thing right all the way down to the paint that they put on the camera because they knew that they're going to be in these different conditions. Let me bring this up. I'm going to re-screen share if I may.
Yes. Yep.
All right. So this is an off-the-shelf Hasselblad camera. This is what they look like if you would have just gone down to Woolworth or whatever and bought one.
That's not what they took, though.
I'm aware of that. I'm getting to that.
It's not the same model either.
I know they used a 500 EL, but this is a manual one. I know. I'm just give me a second here. This is an example. So one of the things they did, they removed this viewfinder right here. That viewfinder, that's normally what you take to look at a picture through a Hasselblad camera, right?
Mm-hmm.
They removed it. This is what they used instead, this little crosshair. They had this Rousseau plate here so that they could take photos and be able to measure and gauge size and all that sort of stuff, right?
Can you tell me how the Rousseau plate,
Excuse me?
what is it made out of there?
Glass.
What did they make it out of? That's my point.
Glass. It's glass. Those little cross marks are etched into the glass.
Okay, and what happens to glass when it gets heated?
It gets warm. What does it have to do with anything?
Thermally expands, correct? And the whole thing's not made out of glass. It's got plastic around it as well, correct?
Plastic, metal, all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
And they all have different rates of thermal expansion, correct?
Sure.
So it would make differences in tolerances. Therefore, you would have gaps where there's not supposed to be gaps, and places where they're almost fusing together.
Why would they fuse together?
In a vacuum, you have things that's called cold fusion.
You mean cold welding?
Yeah.
Do you know what that means, or do you just say a thing and hear it?
Yeah, it removes everything, so the friction actually welds it together. All the friction. The friction is what welds it. Yeah.
And you know what? All sorts of things can combat that.
You still haven't rebutted how did they account for this?
Right down to the paint. See this different color paint? This is what wasn't on the moon. This black stuff.
Yeah.
Even this paint, that's enough to help. I didn't say stop, but help mitigate some of that heat. This reflective silver paint.
And the one at the bottom where the casting is off, that's black, correct?
This one down here?
Yeah.
That wasn't there. That was removed so that you could have the Rousseau plate right there.
Exactly. So they got the Rousseau plate. It's removed for the Roseau plate, and the Roseau plate is made out of glass and plastic. And it's
So
black. Is that plastic black?
the plastic also would be covered up
With what? It's a tight
with
fit.
the camera. This is inside the camera. Once you put that dark slide, or once you put that magazine on, that's covered up.
It's not always in the camera, is it?
The Roseau plate is not always in the camera.
If he's changing the film, it's definitely not on the camera, is it?
So you're saying that in the couple seconds it takes to replace that film magazine, that glass is going to get too hot to use?
Never said that. I said what happens between the time. You made a claim it's always on the camera, so I think it's not always on the camera.
It is always on the Roseau plate was always on the camera.
You got it separate.
They didn't
right?
remove
Yeah.
the Roseau plate.
Yeah, but it would give discrepancies because it will have the lunar dust inside it. How is it going to have a tight fit once the lunar dust has moved and crammed into all the places?
What are you
It can't
imagining
fit.
when you think of lunar dust? Are you thinking of like a dust storm here on Earth?
No, it's very, very fine particles, remember?
I'm aware it's very, very fine, but it doesn't just blow up in the air and get all over
That's
everything.
why they say a lot of exposure for the astronauts on the moon is dangerous for them, even with the spacesuits, because it goes through the fabrics. That's
Yes,
how
and it was
small the particles
stuck
are.
to their spacesuit, for one. For two, they knew these cameras were going to get damaged. That's why they made them once for a one-time use. They took all that into account. All these beautiful pictures you're talking about, not every single picture came out like that. There's only the ones they showed. They took thousands and thousands of cameras, photos with these cameras.
Yeah, and like I said, they took a lot of photos, which makes my point. The more they had to change the film, and the more it was exposed to the elements. Therefore, it would not work.
Why would it not work? Can you please explain? How
Again,
much dust are you thinking is going to be all over the moon? Do you think there's going to be a big dust cloud or something? Because that's what it sounds like you're saying.
there's no atmosphere, so there's no dust clouds. It's
Okay,
always
at least
everywhere.
we agree on that.
I remember there's what's it supposed to be, the sixth of gravity or something.
Okay. So once again, what does that
the
have to do?
dust would be floating around everywhere constantly. They're walking through dust. So
Why
as
would the
soon as
dust be floating around? Do
it's
you know how
the sixth of Earth
how
gravity.
dust works?
It's
The gravity has nothing to do with the dust.
Sorry, according to gravity, mass attracts mass. So if the dust is if the Earth doesn't have the gravity it needs to pull it down, it takes longer to get to the ground. So it's floating around because it's a very light dust particle floating around. Even here on Earth, we have dust particles floating constantly with our beloved gravity, as you put it.
So are you saying that the dust particles should be floating around on the moon?
That is how it's said to work, yes, on the moon.
So the dust flies around on Earth because it's got air to carry it around. You know what happens when dust kicks up on the moon? It goes up and then goes down because there's no air to carry it.
And no gravity to pull it down.
I'm not going to get into the gravity thing again.
So as soon as you expose it to the elements, it is going to have the dust and it's going to have the thermal expansion, and therefore it would not work like it's supposed to work.
Not there's not enough time in between changing magazines on the camera, film magazines, for that really to make a difference. There's really not. How long does it take for you to change film in a regular film camera?
A few seconds.
Okay, and it takes even less if you've got a magazine, right? You just click it on and you go.
Sorry, have you seen how uncomfortable it is to use those suits that they wear?
Yeah, and they took all that into account.
And
they
how
knew
long?
what they were doing.
How long does it take a guy on the ice, astronaut on the ice?
There it is, right there.
How long does it take a astronaut on the ISS just to use a wrench for a bolt?
Turning a bolt is not the same as pulling a trigger on a camera, dude.
He needs to clip that casing out with that big, bulky glove.
Yes, he does. That's what.
Yeah, and then he has
big
to
things
reach.
are for.
Yeah, then he has to reach over, very uncomfortably, and try and get it back into place and get it perfectly aligned and clip it back on.
Why was it uncomfortable?
Mm.
All these things were designed to be used with those big gloves. I'm not understanding where you're going with this.
You know, it would be great if you can actually show us people doing this with their gloves and see how. You've obviously never watched Periscope films before, where they actually show them practicing by using the suits, by doing maintenance. You do know how they struggle their arse off just to even do anything with that suits on.
What is Periscope films?
Go YouTube, type in Periscope films. It's all the historic films on Apollo and space missions and stuff. You'd find it very interesting.
Well, you brought it up. You want to bring it? You want to show it?
It's just documentaries showing it. It's not
Okay.
really needed for the
So
thing.
what does that have to do with
Look it up.
people who are trained to use this specifically for only, a little while? Why is that relevant? They were trained
Because
to
it was
use these cameras
uncomfortable.
before they even left.
You're saying it's so quick and easy to use it.
I didn't say it was quick and easy to use. I said they were trained to know how to use it, and they were built for them to be able to do it.
You know, this whole debate, you haven't actually brought anything other than nah, because I say so, therefore. I've given you actual rebuttals on why the equipment can't work, and you haven't actually given rebuttals to it other than they accounted for it. That's not a rebuttal.
Because they did.
That's appealing to
That's
authority.
pretty good if they knew it was going to happen, so they made sure they knew how to do it. How is that not good enough for you?
Because you're not rebutting anything, you're just appealing to authority and saying they accounted for it, but you can't tell me how they accounted for it.
You see the big giant levers on their camera there, right?
That's
you see the
not
big films of
accounting.
the big magazines,
That's
right?
not accounting for thermal expansion, not accounting for all the dust, but not accounting for outgassing, not accounting for everything that needs to sit into place perfectly. Nothing is rebutted there. You're just saying
they're not doing it to your satisfaction.
No,
There's a difference.
You were just saying they did it. You're not saying how they did it.
I'm showing you how they did it.
No, you're not.
No, you're not understanding it.
Just by saying,
There's
look,
a
they
difference.
got a little lever there, doesn't mean that's how they did it.
What?
That's
Okay, so let me bring it up again because
She said.
off the shelf camera. Look how small all that is for people with hands.
Again,
right?
That is not the camera used.
I am aware of that, dude. I'm
Why
telling
are
you,
showing
they
it the whole time? That's not the one they modified. They didn't even use that off the shelf to modify. You're using a total different model. So that's
yes, I know they use the EL. This is a CL.
So then show
I know what difference you're making.
Then show the EL, please, in stock form. How's that?
Well, okay, let's look up a Hasselblad EL 500, and I'll see what I can find. Let me find a different window. However, you also have not said why the gloves are not good enough or whatever you're trying to say. You're just saying, oh, it's uncomfortable for astronauts who trained for months to be able to do this.
Because
it's not the same as doing maintenance on the ISS.
Think about the Michelin Man. Now think you
What does that have to do with anything?
Now think about you, a very thin straw man inside the Michelin Man trying to move around. That's why it's uncomfortable.
What the fuck are you even talking about?
I'm giving you a reason to understand why it's uncomfortable.
Okay, Hasselblad 5. Oh, hey, look, here's the one that shows the what's it called? Here we go. 500 EL. I believe this is it. Or not.
By the way, Craig, you're doing some awesome dancing in the background.
I said that I dance every time I got a super chat, and they started taking advantage of that.
I was wondering what's going on.
All right, here we go. Fuck, wrong button.
Fuck, wrong button. Wrong button. Nuclear engineer's famous last words.
Ha. Well, this is a newer one because it's got a 9-volt battery on it, but
wait, why don't I see that what you're presenting?
Because I stopped screen sharing. So here's a Hasselblad 500 EL. Look how tiny all that stuff is.
Yeah, they had to change it. But now we're on the right track now. So now you can show how they modified.
Okay. So look at this little lensy here. Look at these little knobs here. That's the viewfinder, right?
Mm-hmm. They changed that to the crosshair.
All right. They changed it to that.
Yeah.
Okay. To that. Look at how big these levers are here now. Look at
the
how
same
big
picture.
these levers are here now, so they can change.
They actually welded them shut to stay in the same exposure and lens.
They really
focus.
didn't. There's even a picture right here that shows what to switch it to. Even the lens itself, when they removed that mirror, the viewfinder, they had to build a completely different lens so it actually fit inside the camera. Because otherwise the lens that came off the shelf wouldn't have worked.
And can you explain to me if it's mounted on his chest with a viewfinder and you're inside that suit, how are
There
you
was
going to
no
look through,
viewfinder.
how are you going to look through the viewfinder? I mean the crosshair.
They didn't. Look how he's looking at it. There you go. There's a good
We
picture
can't
of it.
see anything. It's still seeing the EL on here.
Yeah, it's just still seeing the camera right now.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
the whole time.
shit. Hold on. Fuck. Well, it's hard for me to do. Hold on. Let me stop and then reshare. Yep. There we go. My screen share is loading. All right. Is it up there now?
Yeah, there we go.
Yes,
All right,
there
so
we go.
this is Buzz Aldrin training with it. The crosshair came up like that, up over the camera itself here. So he just kind of held it to his shelf. I mean, there wasn't perfect. You couldn't really line up a shot. You just kind of guessed.
Yeah.
That little trigger there, they took several shots in a row just by clicking that little trigger.
Mhm.
So, I mean, the viewfinder is kind of like, I think it's about right here.
And
That's why they had the Rizzo plate, so they could use that in order to kind of judge what they were actually looking at once they developed the film after it came back. All the film was even looked at on the way back just to make sure there was no damage to it. They wanted to make sure that they had the right exposure. They did test shots too. Like, so once a magazine of film was put in, they had to remove that dark slide, right? That's going to expose the first
Backing
couple of, I didn't say backing plate. I said dark slide.
the dark side is the backing plate, mate.
Okay, whatever. So that's going to expose the first couple of frames, right? Well, then they took a couple of test frames. And then once they developed that film, they took the test frames and they used it kind of like to calibrate from that to make sure that the exposures they had were what they were trying to get. So,
Nice. And are you able to show them actually using this and getting the same type of photography perfection that they did? Or is it only possible that we got that on the moon?
you can go to the NASA's website and look at every single lunar photo if you want. I'm not
No,
going to go
I'm
through
saying-
several
I'm
thousand
saying-
photos.
I'm saying like he's testing the camera out now. Do we have actual photos where he tested the camera out? Did he get that to look as professional as he did from the moon? Or don't they have
From a,
that-
you want
that available?
training photos of his training photos? Is that what you're saying?
No, he used the camera. So obviously there needs to be documentation that the camera worked when he practiced with it. Because he wasn't a professional photographer, so he had to practice with it. So there has to be documentation of these photos. Are there any photos of these?
So you're saying that there needs to be photos of his practice photos. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so we can compare it to the photos he supposedly took on the moon. Because if he can't get it right, that means he never went and took the photos.
Clearly he got it right because there are photos. I'm not understanding what you're saying. You're saying because you don't have the photos that he took, therefore he didn't take photos?
No. There's a difference between good photography and professional photography. Those on the moon
I'm not
are
claiming they're professional photographers at all.
those ones on the moon are considered professional photography because it's done in very great detail. So,
Professional
means-
according to whom exactly?
to everybody, are you claiming that it doesn't
Who's
look
everybody?
especially me?
I didn't say it doesn't look professional. I think it's a great looking photo. That doesn't
great.
good looking
Okay.
photos does not equal professional.
Perfect exposure, no blurring, everything's in focus. Brilliant. So professional. Okay. Now, if he trained with this camera, there should be actual photos before he went to the moon so we can compare it to see if he could have it in focus, have it without blurring, have it everything perfect as they said. Show us this. Oh,
Well,
wait,
unless you want me to
can't, because
start
they don't exist.
pouring through every. Excuse me. Can I answer your question? Because they had documents and they had things like in this situation, click to this f-stop. They had very specific settings on the camera. That it even said, it might even be on here.
So like I said, so there would be actual documented photos that he practiced with. So we can see them and compare them to the moon photos. Because,
Why should there be? Maybe they said, all right, it looks good. Like why do those
usually-
photos need to exist?
usually when
Excuse me?
because usually when people take photos and they claim it to be in such authentication that it looks professional, you would have doubts and saying, okay, then show us your other work. If he's not able to show us other work having exactly the same, how can I say, brilliancy, then it shows it being fake. That's how it works. Usually when you go to photographer, you hire a photographer, you see their work first before they do photography for you.
So you're saying that because we don't have that, they must not have taken photos.
It's a great argument, don't you agree?
Why would they need to publish training photos?
So you can see that he didn't really take the photos on the moon, because if they did, it would show he didn't take those photos on the moon. It was professional photography done in studios.
And your evidence of it being professionally done in a studio is what? Because they don't have training photos? I'm not understanding where you're going with this.
He did not take photos to train with, to show you, listen here, I know how the camera works and I could get perfect photos. Usually if you're building up especially a custom photo camera for someone, you make sure it works. So the guy
So you're saying that they needed, sorry.
So he's using the camera to test it, correct? So there's documentation that the camera is working like he says it's working.
So you think that because they don't have photos of him testing it, that he must not have tested it?
No.
Like, where are you going with this? Why do they need to publicly?
I've explained this many
release
times.
Photos.
Why do they need to publicly release it?
With?
Because the contention here is he never went to the moon to take the photos, because he is not a professional photographer to get the photographs claimed. So that means he would have to be able to replicate the brilliancy of the photos he took when he trained. Unfortunately, there's not one photograph in existence pre-hand to the so-called Apollo missions.
Why would they need that? Why do you really think that 50 years ago they're going to think, oh, someone in 50 years from now is going to want to see our practice photos taken on Earth?
Why would they need that? To declare, listen, yeah, the camera's working and is actually shown to be able to be competent using the camera. That's how it works. It's called logical thinking, mate.
No, your logical thinking goes, they should have released these to the public during training. That's what it sounds like you're saying. Did they release all their training to the public?
If someone goes and builds a new, let's say, mechanical, just say something mechanical, they're building something for the ship. They go and test it to make sure it actually does its job, what it's created for. So the camera, like you said, they heavily modified it. They had to make sure it actually works. So how it works, especially with big organizations, you have the documents going through different levels to make sure they can scrutinize it to see every part of it is perfect. They're going to make sure, okay, the exposure settings are set correct for him. The lens that we used is correct for him. There's no departures in the frame itself that making sure it clasps tight so we can have an actual photograph and it sits perfect. They have to test the modifications out. That's how it works. If they don't test it out, then it shows they did not use it.
So let me make sure I'm hearing you correctly. Are you saying that because they didn't show the public all the practice photos they took on Earth, they didn't go to the moon? Am I hearing you right?
It's not they didn't show the public.
Because
it doesn't
what it sounds
exist.
Like
it doesn't show they didn't show it to the public. It doesn't exist. There's a difference.
Where is your evidence that it doesn't exist? Just because no one's seen it?
Because there's no documentation for it, so it doesn't exist.
Except for the settings being written on the camera itself. And so here's something. For example, let me just bring us back to your solar corona experiment from earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Capcom over the radio told them, set your camera to this setting, to set your exposure to this setting, because the people who told, so the Capcom, he's the only person who would actually talk to the astronauts, right? Someone told him, this is what we think is going to look best, have them do this.
And that somehow proves they were on the moon. How?
That somehow proves that they didn't test the cameras. How?
What? Are you claiming they never tested the cameras on Earth?
You're claiming they never tested the cameras.
You just showed a picture of Neil Armstrong with the camera.
That was Buzz Aldrin.
Buzz Aldrin, I mean, with the camera on his chest. Testing it.
Yeah.
He was testing it. He was
and
pressing
once
the
again,
trigger.
Yeah. And because we don't have those photos he took, therefore he didn't take photos?
Yeah, because
that's what I'm hearing you saying. Am I
let's put it this way.
correctly?
Let's put it this way. If they had to release those photos, do you think it would have the same?
Why did they have to release those photos?
Do you think they would have the same competence as the ones they showed apparently done on the moon?
You realize they don't show? I mean, you could go see every single photo that was taken if that's what you want. Is that what we're saying?
No.
Because the ones that are normally shown are like the best photos out of thousands.
Okay, let me make it to another analogy. You're looking for
Your
someone
analogy,
to
yeah,
take.
please, because your analogies right now aren't making any sense.
Makes sense to everybody but you then. If
I
you
would
hiring
disagree
someone,
with you with that.
let's say you and your wife or girlfriend or whatever, you guys want to have a photo shoot done. So you're looking through a whole bunch of numbers of photographers. Now, half of them don't have any portfolio and half of them do. So you decide, you know what, I trust these people because I see a portfolio. They may look through the portfolio. Oh, this one looks nice. This one looks the best. And based on its price range, fine. So you hire that person. Now the person comes and does the photo shoot for you and you get the photos back and it looks horrendous. It doesn't look anything like his portfolio. Now, would you say that portfolio was him taking or did someone take it for him so he can just have false advertising?
That's not the same thing.
It's exactly the same thing. If you
No, it's
cannot
not.
compare, if you cannot,
They didn't hire photographers to go to the moon.
I agree. That's what I'm saying. Those photos they took are professional photographs, right? Even you can ask professional photographers today. They'll say how brilliant those photos are.
Yeah, because a lot of smart people who knew how cameras work built the camera and said, for this setting, use this setting.
It doesn't matter how smart a person is. Even if you tell the guy to just point that way and press a button, it's not going to come around. If you know anything about cameras, that's not how it works.
So are we just going to gloss over the fact that the ones that we show most of the time are the best of the thousands of photos? Because, you know, you can throw a pile of shit at the wall. Most of it's not going to stick, but a little bit of it will.
Again,
So are we saying that we didn't throw the shit at the wall because only a little of it's sticking?
Again, you can't actually provide evidence that they took those photos on the moon. But I, however, can tell you that because they are not testing it and showing documentation before they use it on the moon, therefore it invalidates that they did use it on the moon to get the claimed pictures they took.
It really doesn't. You just are demanding something that they didn't think they needed to do 50 years ago. You're saying, well, there's no proof that they took the photos beforehand, therefore they didn't take photos. That's what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah, that's one
Am I
argument.
hearing that correctly or not?
Yeah, it's quite a good argument that you don't have a rebuttal to.
It's not really that good of an argument.
You don't even have a rebuttal to it. So yeah, it's a brilliant argument.
No, it's dumb.
It's not dumb. If you create something and make sure it works, you test it first. If it's not tested, then how are you going to know it's going to work?
So you're saying no evidence of testing, therefore no testy, therefore didn't use. That's what you're saying. No,
they did test it. You brought up a photo of Buzz Aldrin testing it. Where is the documentation of those photos?
So like I said, you want to have his test photos. You want them to release the test photos.
Yeah,
is that what you're saying?
That'd be great.
So once again, you're saying because we can't see those test photos, he didn't take photos. That's what I'm hearing you say. Am I wrong?
I'm telling you what's more logical. A guy that has never held a camera in his hand before, especially like a Hasselblad, that is heavily modified, that it will be difficult in a suit to use like he used it, to get the pictures he got in an environment that would place it impossible based on things like I've noted like expansion and the dust from the moon. The environment is too harsh for him to take those photos. We've even been through what happens to film with radiation and vacuum.
Let's talk about the vacuum thing here real quick. How long do you think those cameras were in a vacuum? Because I think that experiment you're talking about has them in vacuum for quite a long time.
You know, it happens straight away, instantaneously. It starts having
it's
degassing.
Really not instantaneous.
That's how entropy works, mate. Instantaneously, it has outgassing at a certain pressure change, and that pressure change in that vacuum isn't even close to what they supposedly have on the moon, mate. Not even close. Do you think it takes time to get to a vacuum on the moon all of a sudden, or is that vacuum always just present there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, the vacuum's there.
Thank you.
So-
So instantaneous gas outgassing then.
Once again, they knew what they were doing. It's almost like they thought about this sort of stuff.
And yet you haven't given any rebuttal to it. You just say they knew what they were doing, not explaining how they knew what they were
showing you
doing.
how.
No, you're not. You're just saying they knew what they're doing. So how did they account
And,
for
and
the
you're
outgassing?
and you're saying
How did they account for the outgassing in a vacuum?
the camera or the film itself had a different emulsion. You can say it would boil away all you want, but it
And-
was different emulsion on the film itself,
And Apollo,
made just for what?
no, false. It wasn't made just for that. It was based from Kodak at the time that would best suit the camera needed. And like I said, Apollo detectives went to Kodak and they got
Apollo
the
detectives.
same.
That is not it's the same film, but it's a different emulsion.
It's exactly the same. It's just the backing that's different.
It was also a thinner
Mm-mm.
film that
It's
they
the
used
same.
so that they could.
They even showed you the documentation that it's exactly the same. Everything's the same. The only thing that's
You
different
keep saying that.
is the backing of the film. That's the only thing
The
that's
film
different.
itself was also thinner.
And that will not change the composition of the film in a vacuum. Yeah, you just outright lying for everybody.
I'm
Yes.
not lying.
Yes.
It's a different emulsion. Let me see if I can
prove
find
it. Prove it. Prove it's a different emulsion. Go ahead.
Can you prove that they were exactly the same? You're the one who brought it up.
Yeah, he's got documentations of it.
See if I can find it. Space
So-
imaging.
Well, Lisa, Flatzoid, do you have any details to discuss about the amount of thermal expansion or anything that we would expect and how it would affect the cameras?
No, because I'm just bringing up that it's one of the arguments that would happen. Don't need to know the
I was just
amount.
wondering if you
yeah.
had any specifics that you could discuss with him. That was all.
No. Let me see if I can get quickly that documents.
I had it and I lost it. Let me see if I can find it.
I think I'm going to get it now. There we go. Can I share my
Oh,
screen?
here we go. Kodak Ektachrome SO121, super light sensitive Kodak 248, 2485, 16,000 ASA. That's not what we're looking for.
I got it on screen. Let me just quickly share screen then.
Yep.
Let me go to the correct screen.
Okay, you can see it there. Kodak Ektachrome 3400 Panatomic X Astro ASA 80 black and white. That's what they used for the Apollo. Okay, you can see that.
That's from your Lunar Detectives video, isn't it?
Yep. You said you wanted me to get you it, so I'm showing it to you. It really wants to load. I want to get where they. There we go. I think this is where they used it. There.
I'm
Form type.
I'm looking at something else here. Let me see if I can.
It's taking a while to load up. Anyway, you still raving there, Craig?
Yeah, it's good cardio.
Come on. There we go. This is the Apollo 17. That's the ones they used. I want to get where they showed the
I
ones
found
they
it.
used. Yeah, there we go. Using the same ones. Okay. I can.
Javardo in the chat says FTFE has moves. I have dad dancing moves. That's
Have you found it, Craven?
Possibly. Let me see if this is what exactly we're looking for. This may not be what I'm looking for, but I do have something that I was reading. We're looking at yours, or we're looking at mine?
You can go yours.
Well, you go ahead, Craven, and then Flatzoid can present what if he's got something.
All right. This may or may not be exactly what I'm looking for, but this is let's see, Apollo 8. Modifications camera. We already talked about the modifications to the camera. Modifications facilitated the camera's use for the, I mean, you may not trust it since it's a NASA document here. Modifications facilitated the camera's use by the crew, which we talked about for a while. Each film magazine would typically yield 160 and 200 black and white, 160 color, 200 black and white on special film. Kodak was asked by NASA to develop thin new films with special emulsions. We don't care about Apollo 8. Pantone X fine grained 80 ASA black and white, 2 Kodak Echochrom SO168, one with Kodak Echochrom SO121, and one with super light sensitive Kodak 2485 16,000 ASA. That's Apollo 8. Let me see what else we got here. Motion picture cameras. Film normally on in static. Yeah, I already talked about that.
Okay, so we've talked quite a lot about the cameras and stuff. So Flatzoid, to try and steelman you here, is it right that your main claim is that you just don't think the cameras that they took could have worked in those conditions, right?
Yeah, the equipment wouldn't be able to work in those conditions, and the claimed photos that they took, based on their knowledge on photography, would kind of be next to impossible if they can't be able to replicate it in a much easier environment like Earth. Then yeah, definitely not plausible in the environment they claim to take it.
Okay. Craven, do you have like a final kind of rebuttal to that? I mean, we can move on to one more subject before we need to shut down. I know it's getting a bit late for Flatzoid.
Yeah, I know we keep kind of saying the same thing.
Yeah. How much longer do you guys have left?
I can go for another little bit. Not much longer. I do got to get my kid from school here in about 20 minutes or so.
Okay.
Maybe we should do a Q&A then. Maybe we should do closing statements.
Well, Craven, why don't you just give like your final kind of thoughts on the camera situation, sure. And then maybe you can pick one more discussion. Then we do closing thoughts and stuff while I'm dancing.
Yeah, because he only has 20 minutes. So yeah.
Yeah. Final thing on the cameras, I guess is, the cameras, they knew they were going to a vacuum. They removed the things that would have made it bad for a vacuum, including using special film that would make that static go away. That would be useful. That usually would help in a non-vacuum environment. So the cameras were modified. Yes, they weren't professional photographers. They were astronauts. The people who knew how cameras worked, they made all the settings and they told them which settings to use. Astronaut just said, okay, and took button picture. So the fact that there are no pictures of them testing is kind of irrelevant. So that's my final thought.
Okay. All right. I'm going to quickly suggest a little subject. So I would like you guys to quickly discuss the third-party tracking data from the thousands of amateur ham radio operators from hostile nations such as Russia and China, and nations all around the world that all coincided and confirmed with what NASA were saying. What's the reason why all these things match up with the supposed going to the moon? Can we get Flatzoid's thoughts on that first, and then Craven can do a rebuttal?
Absolutely.
So you're saying like like using ham radios and all that to
there you can look and find lots of thousands and thousands of kind of amateur radio operators that tracked the signals and where they were coming from, which also matched up with things that were said by, say, Russia and China and other hostile nations at the time. Okay. So why did all of the worldwide tracking data, including amateur ones, match up with what NASA said?
And these were documented?
Yes, yeah.
Awesome. And how do you know these documents are not made up? No, I'm asking you. Prove those documents are not fabricated.
Okay, so let's work on the assumption that they're not fabricated. People made them in real time. what would your thoughts on that be? How, let's say that the person that the amateur person that did the tracking data with their ham radio, they're nothing to do with NASA. They're just a dude sitting on their own playing with a ham radio.
But that's
what they capture.
Yeah, but you see, my argument is those documents cannot be proven to be actual. It could just be fabricated documents. So it makes it look that they went. It's simple as that. If you can prove to me that those aren't fabricated documents, then by all means, I would say, okay, then we have to figure out what's going on. But my argument is, how do you know it's not fabricated documents?
Okay, Craven, what do you say to that?
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I actually have something similar to that right here. If I can share my screen one more time.
Yeah, please go ahead.
I can find the right goddamn window. We're going to go through this real quick because we're out of time here.
I don't think you're screen sharing right now.
Ah, shit. Oh, here it goes.
Oh, no, there we go.
We'll just go through. Here's JAXA. This is their Selene orbiter. We're not talking about that. They took some photos. It was like a mapping, like how you take pictures of the seafloor. These matched exactly to some of the Apollo photos. We'll go quick. Laser ranging. Yep, that's a thing. All right, here we go. Directly to your question. This is a guy named Sven Gran. He was from Sweden. This article here talks about how he actually tracked it himself. Here's a couple pictures down here of some of the equipment he used. So he went down to Titusville to listen and watch the launch. Here's a quick little diagram of what he used to pick it up. Here's his radio horizon here, as far as you could pick it up. This is actually the tracking. Here's the launch. And then here's a couple of orbits that it took. Then he moved near Gainesville to another setup that someone already made. Here's his dish and how they picked it up. Well, here's where the frequency changed over time over the course of their mission. And here's a little log that he made of everything he picked up, when, where, how, what they were saying, what the frequency was, what time, all the way up till when he stopped doing it on the 12th of December. So that was not made up. That's someone who actually did it and published it on his own personal website.
So briefly, so when he does have equipment issues, then it's back up. So he did have equipment issues as well. So that's quite interesting. If this is true, then it can mean a lot of things. But I'll have to look more into it.
Issues.
It says briefly off watch because of equipment issues.
Well, you know they're going to the moon, right? So sometimes it's not exactly line of sight.
So then it's not actually a rebuttal that they picked them up constantly, proving that they went to where they claimed.
I mean, you want me to go through every timestamp?
No, I'm
because
saying
it looks like they had them pretty good here.
You just literally conceded that they can't have line of sight constantly. You just said that, correct?
So does this
mean the radar horizon?
Radar horizon.
Radar horizon.
Yeah. So not constantly then.
So you want someone to have listened to the whole thing the entire time?
No,
this is just some dude with his radio equipment, right?
But this is interesting what he brought. I'll look more to this though.
Okay. Well, I do have the link or the website right down here. I'm not going to list it out, but if you want to get it, that's the website of the guy who did it. So I mean, this is just a screenshot of his article.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I'll definitely look into it. Thanks.
Yeah, and so the Soviets, they actually did, because they had the Luna 15 mission that was at the same time, unmanned mission. They wanted to actually beat Apollo 11 there, but it crashed. They actually had to, I mean, obviously you're asking for documentation, but they did actually have to coordinate with NASA so that they wouldn't crash. So they were actually also 100% tracking that. Actually, fun fact, first known cooperation between the two nations. That's their moon rocket that didn't fly. That's their lunar module that also didn't fly. And once again, this one on the left, I can't say that was true because there's not an actual document of it, but they did actually recovered a Apollo lost capsule and return it. So yeah, there is evidence of other countries having tracked it and saying, yep, it's legit.
But I'm sure I've seen Apollo capsules more than one at different museums though. How is that possible if it's the same Apollo capsule I'm thinking of?
I didn't say it was the same Apollo capsule. I said the Russians recovered one that was lost and returned it to NASA.
This is that one I'm talking about, yeah. The one that was supposedly in sea that was lost when it was supposed to be in space.
Yeah. It was
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So they found an ocean, therefore it didn't go to space. Got it.
Remember what our argument usually is? They dump it in the ocean and then they have an air show for everybody.
I never argued that they dumped it in the ocean.
our argument usually. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's weird how
It's
But I
certainly a
said
lot
it's-
safer to dump it in the ocean than on people, right? And the Earth is covered 70% in water, so bigger target.
yeah,
Yeah.
all nice and level.
Level does not equal flat.
There.
Actually, it's synonymous.
Right, okay. I think this has been a good discussion. I do appreciate you both being cordial with each other and giving each other time to speak. It's nice to have a non-dumpster fire debate sometimes. So I have enjoyed this and appreciated it.
I know you're all about dumpster fires, but maybe next time.
Well, I have to sound
Well,
proud
I'm
of you,
debating
Craig.
Flatzoid on Monday. We'll see how that goes, eh?
Yeah,
Well,
and
if you want me to jump in and I'm available, sure.
well, I have to
I'll
say,
keep it calm.
I have to sound proud of you tonight, Craig. You really did behave yourself.
I'm trying to show that I can in the situations where it's required. Flatzoid, how about first, do you have any questions from your chat for Craven?
No, I don't think they have any. You guys have any chats for Craven? While I'm waiting for chats for Craven, you can give me on your side. It's fine.
Let me just quickly have a look if there's any specific questions for you. Gonzo the Great says €5 Flatzoid. Can you explain why 50 years on all credible engineers still agree the tech, telemetry, and maths are correct? Correct enough to get you to the moon and back.
Just because equation means it works out doesn't make it reality.
Fair enough.
Oh, shit.
Okay,
The math is our reality.
math certainly describes reality. IC Spin for $4.99 says a spacesuit costs $100 million today. Flatzoid, is that a fake valuation? Why would NASA spend that kind of money for a hoax?
How much money they make out of this hoax? And remember, it's
None.
all about
a government agency.
Yeah, it's all about controlling the minds of the masses.
What do they do with the money? Just like throw a bunch of parties with hookers and blow? Because that sounds
Well, we're watching your party, so it's going to your party apparently.
Flatzoid. I think that's just a statement rather than a question. Okay. Gonzo the Great for €5 says Flatzoid pressure at a container. Where I live, it's 120 millibars lower pressure than the coast 2 kilometers away. Why is this? That is a physical demonstration, and a physical demonstration is my ears popping when I drive home.
Gas behavior. It's in the same system, by the way.
Okay, but would you not agree that there is a layer of pressure that does not have a container around it?
It's the same system. You have a pressure gradient in the same system. It doesn't mean it's no containment. It just means there's a pressure gradient in a contained system.
Okay, I'm going to bring up more of this on Monday. Don't worry,
Cool.
don't worry. RS for 50 Donkey Kong dollars says, I want to ask something. Why is this conspiracy even existing, and who pays for it? And yeah, so who? I think they're asking who pays the people to lie.
I don't know. That's just speculation. Who pays for it? I don't know.
I mean, I've been told so many times that I'm a shill that gets paid, and I'd really like a number for payroll because I'm pretty sure I'm owed a large check at this
Oh,
point.
so it's not just you that's called a shill. Okay, I'm glad it's not me, because I also get.
I'll pay you in
called
blowjobs.
Oh,
Now.
So then that's a no.
My wife said no, sorry.
Ah, dang. Well, I mean,
JS Tiger $5 says Flatzoid, why do training photos need to be made publicly available?
so we can scrutinize to see if they actually took the photos claimed on the moon, because they're too perfect for non-professional photographers.
Watchmaker for $2 says Flatzoid, they used watches that needed oil, and the watches worked.
They didn't go to where they claimed to go, so it didn't work.
There we go. Right, I think that's all the questions for you. So everyone knows on Monday, Flatzoid and I are going to be doing a debate, and we're going to try and make it a regular thing where Flatzoid and I can talk, and then people in Flatzoid's chat and people in our chat can come onto the call and have debates with each other. I think that'd be quite fun to do on a Monday evening. You looking forward to that, Flatzoid?
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
At least we can have understandings with each other. We get
Yeah.
heated sometimes.
You know, when I call you a fucking idiot, I mean it in the nicest way, don't you?
Likewise.
New one come in just for you quickly, Flatzoid. LBS for $550 Canadian says, Flatzoid, what about the laser reflectors that were left on the moon?
Weird how they could pick up same reflectors before they even landed on the moon. It was done by the Russians before that as well.
Really interesting. I'd like to see information regarding that. Okay, why don't we just quickly do final thoughts? Flatzoid, I'll let you give just some final thoughts before you get off and finish talking to your chat and stuff.
Awesome. Yeah. So it's just the closing statements then.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I just want my closing statement is just thanks, Craven. I enjoyed the chat, the debate. I think we had a nice cordial debate, and I'd love to debate you again sometime. Thank you, Craig, for behaving yourself. And I just want to point out, you see, guys, it's always hand wave dismissals and not actually showing anything to prove what the debate is about. Did they really go to the moon? Simply, we got, no, I hand wave your thermodynamics, and they just had clever people, so therefore the equipment will work. And, well, a lot of people did it, so therefore, true. That's my statement. Thanks.
Well, thank you very much, Flatzoid. Craven, final thoughts?
Yeah, also I do want to say thanks to Flatzoid, and yeah, it was fun. Thank you, FJF, for hosting this, and yeah, maybe we can do it again because I enjoyed myself. And to your last point, just because a lot of really smart people did something doesn't mean because if you don't understand it, it's not true. I want to say one other thing though, real quick. I want to share a picture if I can. This is Neil Armstrong. Right after he ended his EVA. Neil Armstrong was kind of a shy guy, real reserved. If you watch videos or photos of anything of him any other time, he doesn't look like this. Does this look like the photo of someone who just pulled off the biggest host in history, or a guy who just got off the fucking moon?
Or it looks like someone was just threatened and he was crying about it and had to smile for the camera.
He looks pretty happy to me, especially for having been up for so long.
Smile to the camera, bitch.
And anyway, again, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Flatzoid. Thank you, FTFE. Thank you, chat, for watching. Thank you, Flatzoid's chat. One last thing I want to say, and this is completely irrelevant, but thank your trash collectors. They really do an amazing job, and they never get the thanks they need.
I agree.
Especially during the pandemic, our healthcare providers did so much for everybody, but no one really considers people like the trash collectors. And think of where we would have been if our trash was getting picked up. So they do a really hard job, a really important job, but they don't get the recognition they deserve. So if you're outside and you see your trash collector coming by, just give them a wave and say thanks. They really appreciate it. That's it.
100% agree.
Before their job's replaced by robots, of course. Hey, Flatzo, just before you go, one quick question. Would you, if someone asked you to, swear on the Quran?
No, because I don't believe in the Quran. I swear on the Bible. That would be blasphemy.
Okay.
Because the thing is, if I have to swear on the Quran, it would be me saying, I believe Allah to be true. Allah's not true, so I can't swear on the Quran.
So what if someone didn't believe on the Bible? Should they swear on the Bible?
Well, if you're an atheist, you don't have a belief. So to you, it's a total different story. Your morals are not bound by a God that you have to keep to morality on.
So what you're saying is an atheist can swear on anything and should do it if they're
think about it. An atheist has no condemnation by, as you could say, claiming to be something, to be truth or not. Whereas us, we have a standard. We can only pray to God. So if I'm going to go and put my hand on the Quran, I am therefore now saying my God is not God. The Quran's God is God. And that's why I can't do it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Also, Professor Philip Bell does want to talk with you on thermodynamics so that we can arrange that for one of the Monday debates. That should be fun.
We can try that.
Yeah. Thank you, both you very much. And we'll speak to you soon. I'm going to end the call now and do my super chats. So Craven, Flatzoid, thank you very much. And speak to you both soon.
Sure. Thanks, man.
Thank you. Thank you both. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Cheers.
Bye.
That was interesting. Exactly, Derek. Swearing on the Bible is not actually how it's supposed to be, but this wasn't the question that was asked, though. So, what did you guys think of that? Well, that was a hoot, yeah. Whoop! I'm back. How's it going, Dislord? How's it going, PJ? I don't know if they can hear me. Oh, they can't hear me because I was muted. Hey, PJ, how's Dislord? How you guys doing? I guess still not.
You hear me? You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Cool. Right, yeah. That was easy.
Yeah, he didn't really present anything other
He
than
didn't.
documentation
He didn't.
and
I mean,
claiming
his opening thing was it was talking about the preparations and stuff like that. It wasn't proving anything to do with the moon landing.
Yeah, but that's what I say. He's open to it. Was just these people. A lot of people worked on the the mission, so therefore they went. This is documentation, so therefore they went. And then whenever I asked him, okay, then let's take gas pressure out of the container. What do you think happened? Well, that spiraled quickly. He had to concede there's no demonstration. So that was by default. So that's already a loss, because if you can't demonstrate that they can go to space, then they can't go to the moon.
That's it.
He wanted to push it to flat Earth for some odd reason, which it wasn't. Then when we went to the equipment, all I got was, oh, they were clever people, so they accounted for it. So when I ask, okay, how do they account for it? Oh, no, they were clever.
They were clever. Yeah, that's proof. That's
And here we are.
Yo.
Let me just apologize for joking a little bit too much around, perhaps.
That's all right, dude.
I don't think I missed any super chats. If I did, I'm really sorry, guys.
You
No,
only
I
missed
mean,
some super jokes.
yeah.
I mean,
Like that,
who can pronounce his nickname, like who can say his nickname 3 to 5 times in a row without laughing?
I know, exactly. You can't even say it once. But did he just say what I thought he said to Craig in the end? I'll pay you a blowjob.
Yeah.
Yeah, that just proved our point.
Yeah, as soon as I heard that, I thought that's why he's got that name.
Well, when he opened,
Craven Moordik.
Well, didn't you open here when he opened? He said something about someone sticking it in his bumhole.
Oh goodness, I didn't hear that bit. No, I didn't hear that
so
bit.
there's a reason why he has that name.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But it was the guy's first debate, so.
Hell yeah, he spoke all right. You know what I mean? He spoke all right, especially, and fair play to him. First debate, he was willing to take it on, and he had enough confidence to do it. I mean, he didn't. What he came to do, he didn't do it. You know what I mean? He didn't prove.
Nothing he showed was evidence that they did go to the moon. And nothing he rebutted was actually him rebutting, other than saying, "No, our guys were clever."
That's right.
And I mean, isn't my argument valid if I say, okay, if they took these brilliant photos on the moon, will they not be able to demonstrate that they could do the same when they tested the cameras here on Earth?
Well, you know what I mean? Yeah, but fair play to him anyway. Fair play to him for it being his first time. You know, and not giving it a go. He, like I say, he was confident enough. He just didn't prove what he came to prove.
Yeah.
Nah.
That's it.
Because I've never ever seen anyone do modifications to something or build a brand new thing and then say, "No, we're not going to test it. We're just going to go straight to the mission." They test
yeah,
it,
exactly.
especially when it comes to big companies and stuff. The bottom of it starts at a chain. You start at the bottom, and then it goes through the chain to see, so they can see all the things. I mean, they're gonna get it fine comb tuned by everybody to seeing. Okay, this guy's gonna make sure the exposure is correct. This guy's gonna make sure the field of view is correct. You know what I mean? They can make sure every setting is 100% perfect. So they're going to test the camera. They're not just going to say, "Oh, let's do the modification, stick it on him, and send him off to space." That's not how it works. So if there's no documentation that they've ever done this, what does that tell you?
Well, exactly. It's no documentation. Then
I mean, then
nothing.
I can just go and just stick a camera on me and say, "Oh, look, I took these perfect photos and it wasn't me."
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, Richard G, thank you very much for your $5 super chat. Good job, Flatzoid. Thank you very much, mate. I really appreciate the super chat. It wasn't much of a challenge, to be honest.
No. I mean, you didn't even come forward in your chair, so you were nice and relaxed. You didn't get annoyed or anything. It's so, yeah, you were so chill. It must have just been easy for you.
At least I got it a bit hyped when I spoke about gas pressure.
Yeah.
And then the
of
guy
course.
showing total ignorance to thermodynamics.
Yeah. He did seem to do that, didn't he? Like he didn't know what it was all about or something.
He thinks just because it says isolated systems, it always increases. He thinks now that takes away closed and open systems. A closed and open system is inside the isolated system. It's like opening a system inside another system, like a balloon.
Yeah,
a balloon is
like
a system.
Inside. Yeah.
As soon as you pop it, it is now transferred
into
to the
the
surrounding
system.
system. Exactly.
Yeah. Get it. That's a good little analogy of it, actually.
Yeah. I just love the trolls in chat. Claiming how I got destroyed, yet there's nothing presented for the globe. Thank you, Godzilla37, for your $5 super chat. Really appreciate it. He says, I have a question for Craig. Oh, he's gone. Yeah. So is it the globe model? Good show, Flatzoid. Thank you very much for the super chat. And yeah, guys, you guys heard it from Craig. We're going to be seeing if we can do a Monday, every Monday kind of thing, where we can get you guys involved as well.
That'd be cool. I'd be into that.
Yeah, so we get you guys involved and he gets guys involved from his side, and we can all, like, we'll have like a mini debate kind of thing, and then you guys will hop in as well.
Sand, I could set up a boxing match with one of them.
So
I'll be there. I can't wait to see Craig getting his butt kicked again. You know, it's getting to be one of my life's best experiences. You know, I'm used to it now. You know, I love it.
But I loved how he in the beginning of the debate he said, "Bro Sanchez is claiming about the moon being plasma and stuff," and he's just saying it.
Yeah.
The way it's like wrong. It's like I almost asked him, "Okay, can you prove it's not that?"
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I love when him and Bro Sanchez goes at each other. It's so fun.
Yeah.
And Craig gets so fucking angry. It's amazing. It just makes it even funnier and more interesting.
Godzilla says, Flatzoid reads like Nathan, too far from the screen. I can only be so far because of the mic. I can't. I mean, my legs are practically by the cupboard, so it's not going to really work. But guys, I did get my green screen, and I got it sorted. My wife used the sewing machine today to do the laps over for me. I got my PVC piping. I built my my frame, so it's really cool. Really excited. I'll probably use it tomorrow night.
Nice.
Thank you, Jason.
Nice.
Really appreciate it, mate. Appreciate everybody in chat. You guys were awesome. Sorry I couldn't chat with you guys because I was busy talking with someone else. But I'm gonna look into that thing where the last thing he showed with that so-called amateur guy, because I found it very odd with his documentation there where it said had issues and had to switch it off, and then he had to concede there wasn't always line of sight. So how does that prove their point then? If it's not always line of sight, then you don't know. So most of those dots that he put on his graph were just calculations based on that's where it was. It wasn't always actually observed there at that time. They placed it to make the bell curve.
Yeah. What's that in chat? The key ring of Rassilon. He said, retro reflectors prove the moon isn't a plasmoid like you think it is, Flats.
As far as I know, there's no reflectors on the moon. I think the Russians picked up the same type of anomaly before they even went to the moon. Like I said to Craig. I'm sure I saw something like that before, that the Russians actually picked up reflections on the moon before Apollo even went to the moon. So that's weird. How do you have reflectors on the moon before they even get to the moon?
Yeah, that's right. And did you ever claim it was a plasmoid?
I was saying it could be a plasmoid. I never said
it could be. You never could. Exactly.
Nobody knows.
Exactly.
I say it's more plausible to be a plasmoid than it
Yeah.
can be a rock falling constantly sideways in a space vacuum.
Yeah.
It makes more sense, but we don't fully know. We don't really know.
Yeah, Carapple. Next step, augmented reality. Exactly. I'm gonna have some
Was that
ISS
Bill?
fun. Hey, Bull. Good to see you, mate.
Hey, buddy. Is there background noise?
No, it sounds all
Only
right.
you.
Hey, Matty.
Very little.
No.
It's not much.
Hey,
though.
good to see you guys.
I don't think so.
Good show. That was a good show, man.
Ah, nice
But
bike. Nice helmet.
Nice
Chewy.
helmet. I was about to say nice helmet. Yeah. Uh-huh.
I'm
Red and black.
What kind of bike do you have? I'm surprised you could hear anything.
I'm on a Honda now.
A Honda?
It's cut
It's
out.
probably a CBR or something. Thank you, Professor Harvester, for your $5 super chat. Really, really appreciate it. It says $5 for the butt whooping. Thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's always good to see you guys here, and I'm glad you. Oh yeah, and enjoying, like I said. So thanks for the support. I really, really appreciate it, guys. I must say, I'm so happy about this mic. It's so much easier to talk. I don't have to scream.
You sound so much better, dude. You sound like you should be a radio presenter. You like I say, your voice is smooth like chocolate, man.
Moxie says he uses his Bible to hold the door open in his wardrobe. The Bible is just a book. It's the words in it with meaning that you have to use.
You know, Moxie, you're damned for that. That's it. You're damned. Telling you, that's it. You're doomed. There's no hope for you now.
I was almost gonna hope that Craven would bring the scientific method into it. I was gonna hope he's gonna claim science, but he didn't. I was like, yeah, but we're probably gonna have FTFE bringing that up on Monday. He couldn't help himself.
No, that's it. That's right. That's right.
We had like 80 people in at one stage, so that was good.
I know. There was loads in, man. There was loads. It's still 50.
Yeah. Shame my wife burnt her hand earlier this evening, just before the debate, with the iron.
Oh, I was going to say, did she cook it? Did she burn it cooking? No, with the iron.
No, she was ironing and it fell, and she didn't think she'd try to catch it.
Catch it. I've done that before. It's such an easy thing to do. Your reflexes just take over.
Yeah.
And you go for it. Yeah, I've done exactly that before.
I feel so sorry for her though.
Yeah. The same with a knife in the kitchen, you know.
That's it.
It's like while you're realizing you shouldn't do it, you're still doing it.
Yeah.
It's like I knew I shouldn't have done that. Crazy. It's like it's happened before it already started, you know.
And my reaction is so fast that I can't even stop myself. It's already done.
Done, yeah. That's it. Muscle memory. Yeah.
Bye, Coffee Troll. Thank you for coming by. Yeah, it's boring because your globe lost.
Yeah. Is that what he said? It's boring.
Yeah.
This is boring AF. Oh, wonder what that means.
I have to say,
so nice.
One thing I have to say, if it's so boring, why was he here and not in Craig's chat?
Well, there you go. Could have sat in Craig's chat, dude.
Just like the trolls that come on my channel and say, "Oh, I'm blocked. I can't chat," and then it's like, okay, then how the hell are you commenting? This is how idiotic these people are.
Yeah, they do that, don't they? Yeah, I can't come in because I'm blocked. But why? How are you there? It's like everybody claims they were blocked on Discord, isn't they? But
they're commenting.
Oh, Alan's doing a show now.
Okay, but I have to say, I'm proud of Craig tonight. He really did behave himself.
He did, yeah, he did. Yeah, he did, yeah. Fair play to him. We did say that. We did say that in chat.
Yeah.
Just made a change. Because me and Rich both said, well, it's strange because I was expecting him to be interrupting every 30 seconds, but no, he behaved himself.
Yeah. The Keyring of Rage. Yeah, it could have been in both. Who knows how much soccer counts the guy has.
No, that's right.
I want to know how Bull is able to hear us while he's riding a motorcycle.
I know.
I can hear you clearly.
What have you got? Bluetooth earphones in?
Yes.
That's right. He's got Bluetooth earphones.
The problem is if I ride bike, I ride at such a speed you won't be able to hear anything. You just me in the background.
I was heading to the parts store. I lost service earlier. I'm getting some glue for a rear view mirror.
Oh.
Yeah, I
cool.
figured I would just join and say hi.
I remember the first time I rode a CBR 450. I was like driving, I was like all proud of myself. Yeah, it's awesome. And as soon as I stopped, just to stop, I couldn't get my footing and the bike fell on me. And I had to end up importing the mirror from Japan. It's like,
That's funny.
but I'm more of a car kind of guy than a bike. So bikes are beautiful for me. But if I do want a bike, I'll rather just get it for track or something, because I've just seen too much accidents on the road here with bikes. It's too unsafe. I have children and a wife. If I didn't have children or wife, then yeah, I'll probably get a bike.
Thank you for the. You're trying to stir my conscience right now, aren't you?
No, man. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it that way.
Of course not. Of course not.
But yeah, I'm more of a car guy.
Excuse me.
When I'm big, I'm still going to get my Subaru.
Yeah, nice car. I mean, like, say, I'm more of a Nissan Skyline, but yeah, I understand the attraction to Subaru.
Which Skyline, the 34 or the 32?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I just think of the Skyline that Paul Walker drove in.
That's 32 then.
32. Yeah, that I wasn't sure. But
yeah,
it's ever since I seen it in that film, I liked it. So when I play my computer games, I usually look for a Skyline. You know what I mean? So I've never been in one, but so if I go in one, I'll probably not like it. But
they're all mental.
Yeah,
I had a mate. He had a 34, and he boosted up to 1,000 horsepower.
Oh wow!
That thing is mental. It's like like in fourth gear, the tires are still spinning.
Yeah, wow, it's crazy. I just like the look of the car. It looks like a big car, but it's only a 2-door.
Yeah, it's still a huge car. It's a heavy car.
Yeah, and it's only got 2-door, isn't it? It's crazy. It looks like a car big enough to put 4 doors in, But yeah, I like the look of the Skyline. Never been in one, but I like it.
But since I've got older, I've sort of grown out of the speed though. When I was younger, I used to love speed. Now it's like, it's okay if I have to. I mean, even like with my Chevy, it's a 2.5. It has its grunt. So if I need to take over something, put power, awesome, it goes. But I don't really feel like I just have to push it all the time. You know what I mean?
Right.
When I was younger, oh man, all I did was spend money on the cars and just drive it like crazy. Jeeps are cool. Jeeps are really cool.
Yeah.
I would actually love to get myself a little Suzuki Jimny or something for off-roading, because it's short wheelbase, so you can actually do quite a few things with it. I actually laughed. I've seen some places where like you get little like Land Cruisers and stuff get stuck, and you see a little Jimny drive past him like laughing. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah, I mean, I don't drive. I mean, obviously, like drugs and things every time I wanted to do it, drugs and things got in the way, or relationships or prison or something. So it's just been put off and put off and put off now. But it's time to do it. You know what I mean? So I've got to get my provisional sorted out, get it updated, and start getting lessons, drive again, start driving, because I've never drove. So to be honest, I'm saying a Skyline, but any little car would do me for my first car. I don't care.
So should we say PJ's bucket list?
Yeah, definitely bucket list to get my lessons and drive. But I'm 47 in July, so by the time I don't know, what would you say?
I don't know.
If I'm a beginner, if I'm a novice, total novice, just say I can't drive whatsoever. How long would you say?
6 months.
6 months, right? So if I'm like 47 in July, by the time I'm 48, I should have done something about it. Yeah,
you
should be able to drive by then. Yeah,
and unless you do it like me, I did. I learned to drive in my dad's Superboss. So it was like straight away, I just put foot. So it's like, FTF, it was a great debate. Thank you very much, Really enjoyed it, mate. Looking forward to the one on Monday.
Absolutely, man.
It was a good
Absolutely.
show. Yeah. And tell Craven I do appreciate him bringing up the debate. Yeah, I can't go on much longer though. It was a good debate, and yeah, just want to say thank you to everybody
Yeah.
again.
And it started early tonight as well.
Same thing.
Yeah.
He just it felt like he should have just been he should give up in the end, and he just didn't even know what to say, so it just dragged out.
That's it.
But yeah,
there's Matty again.
reminds you of
I'm gonna show you.
Yeah.
I got a cool Jeep. I'll show you when I get home, Flatzoid.
You got it? Sorry, you broke up.
You said you like Jeeps, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll show you a cool one. I mean, it's nothing fancy, but I think it's beautiful.
Awesome. I think Rachel would like it also, because I think she also said something about Jeeps in here. But if you want to see some awesome BMs and stuff, you should see Alan Ostrand's. Oh, by the way, Alan, have you sorted out the bottom end of that 3 series of yours? Shame he went and he took his BM on a drag strip, and he found metal shavings in, and he found he's gonna have to do the bottom end over. That sucks.
Yeah, definitely. So I could say fair enough. Fair enough, slip radar, but at least you can drive. I can't drive at all. I've been up to second gear and I've never turned a corner. I just went straight and then reversed back. That was it.
I just got to ask you, how the hell did you get that right, PJ?
Get what right?
Not driving a car for so many years.
Right. It's crazy.
Is the public transport that good that side?
What do you mean, the public transport?
Because you've been using public transport.
Right. I see. Yeah. I hardly use public transport either, to be honest, except when I used to go and see Vicky and that, or when I went to see Michael the other week. I pretty much walk everywhere, to be honest.
Well, that's keep
driver's license around here.
And now I've got the scoot everywhere.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, of course, no. I just kept putting. It's something I needed to do years ago, and I just every time I've just put it off, or I've got back into drugs or something. But this time I've been clean of drugs like over 4 years, so there's no danger of going back there.
Yeah.
So I need to start thinking about it. It's just the fact that I kept getting into situations like that, so it just kept putting off and putting off. So getting around, I've just, like I said, just walked about, or public transport now and again. But in general, yeah, I just walked about.
So you're saying you can run circles around Simon and Dan?
Definitely, absolutely, because physics says so.
Yeah. I was actually talking to me and my wife were talking the other day. We want to go for our advanced drivers again. That was so fun. I'd love to do it again.
What's that? To drive like dangerously but safe?
Yeah, it's advanced driving. So you do You do special handbrake turns, J turning, and I mean I remember when I was doing that at Geratech, and the guy sitting next to me, I'm clocking it at 250 kilometers an hour. The guy's sitting next to me holding the door handle for his life, and I just want to go. I think it's redlining as fast as it can go, but that was awesome.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah, it is mad thinking that I'm 47 this year and I've never drove to get about. It's crazy because my dad always drove. I mean, my dad was driving from the age of 18. He landed in the army, so he drove everywhere. But it's something I've always wanted to do, and I think I'd be able to do it no problem because I can drive in my head. You know what I mean? But practically, like I say, I've only ever gone up to second gear. I've never turned a corner in a car. I've gone forward and backwards. That was it.
This Lord said something about license there, but you guys difficult.
Yeah, driver's licenses now in Denmark is so expensive that it's hard to even want to take one now. The prices has just grown and grown and grown.
Yeah, it's not easy to pass in the UK either. I mean, stories I hear, I don't think it's that easy. Depending who you take your lessons and who you go with for your examination, but It's not terribly easy. I mean, the theory and all that is quite
Beautiful.
hard. You know what I mean? There's like 4 different things you got to do: a theory, a hazard test, a practical. What's the other one, Harry?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
When
but
you're driving test, theory, practical.
yeah, it's just theory and practical
No, but
usually. Because you do the
in
theory.
hazard awareness.
Oh, okay, but isn't that part of your practical though?
Is that part of your practical? Oh, it's part of your theory, right? Okay, I thought it was a separate thing. Yeah, it's okay. So it is just 2 pieces, but
Okay.
yeah, it's
Oh,
not
wow.
easy. It's not easy.
That's awesome, Bill.
Oh wow,
What model
that's
is
cool.
that? Is it it looks like a 70 model. Is it 70s?
No, it's cool.
95.
95. So late. It looks like a 70s. But that's also, it's got a soft top. Or is it a hard top there?
Yeah.
That's really nice. I like that. That's cool, man.
I like the tan.
It's old school, isn't it?
Beautiful. Yeah, we
Yeah,
we
man.
never got Jeeps like that here though. We
Oh, that's nice, man.
we got the Wranglers and stuff, but this is
It's the
like real
Harley
old
edition.
school. Yeah, this is like old school.
Nice.
Really awesome stuff.
What's your steering wheel doing on the left-hand side? That's weird.
Yeah, I think it's broken, Bull.
Yeah, it's broken. Steering wheel's on the wrong side.
That's funny.
But then again, you guys do drive on the wrong side of the road.
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
What? Wait. In
Get
UK?
shots in.
Yeah.
Get your shots in.
We drive in the left in the UK. South Africa drive in the left as well.
Mm-hmm.
Do they have? Yeah. Is it bonnets and boots in South Africa?
Yeah. Bonnet is a hood.
Yeah,
And
same as us.
The boot is like a trunk for you guys.
Trunk in America. We say bonnet for the they say hood, and we say trunk. No, they say trunk and we say boot.
Boot, yeah.
Yeah, so we say the same as you, Flats, for that.
And then when we say bucky, they say truck.
I don't say that.
But inside the car, don't you also sit in the wrong side there?
No, and Flats sits on the left and the right-hand side.
Right-hand side, yeah. Sit on the right-hand side, drive on the left. So the thing is...
Yeah.
So how it is, you're driving on the inside of the middle of the road, almost.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you've got a left-hand drive and you're driving in UK roads, when you go to overtake, it's a bit dangerous because you got to go further out because you can't see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that's the only trouble with it, to be honest. Just overtaking.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to say night, guys.
Yeah, man, you did well. You did well, dude.
I think it was a good enough stream, yeah. But I just want to say thank you. An awesome Jeep, Bull. Definitely.
Yeah, it was nice. That was lovely. That was cool.
You make me want to fix my Corsa. It's still just sitting in the garage gathering dust.
Wow. One day you'll get to it.
Yeah, but I mean, I have to change the gearbox and everything, and I was like, I might as well just change the whole engine then.
Right. Are you capable of doing that yourself?
Yeah, that I can do.
Cool.
It's just, do I have the time and the money?
Yeah, it's a big job.
Else. Yeah.
That's it. It's a big job. It's all right if you've got everything else in your life sorted out, and then you've got enough for a little luxury to spend on it. But unless you've got that, then yeah, it's got to be a hard one to do, isn't it?
But yeah, so I'm just gonna say thank you guys for coming. I appreciate everything. I appreciate everybody in chat. Yeah, then I'll see you guys all tomorrow night.
Absolutely.
And then many blessings, and may the pressure be with you. Cheers.